X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who spit facts online all the time. Can you see it? All the ones who drag my name every single day. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? They keep saying you don't have what it takes to carve out your own name underneath the shadows of gods, and I keep waiting for the day disbelievers say I flew way too close to the sun. I wait, but it never really comes. The answer to my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The answer to my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A voice that compels all to rebel from all that shackled minds. Why do they just stand there against when they fall from the battles I have overcome? You feel it, feel the cope and the seething tone that they make while I stand up, man among gods. And I keep thinking with my mill, shooting ropes in my cold that faces towards the sun. They hate, but I'm sitting comfy with their mom. The answer to my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The answer to my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A voice that compels all to rebel from all that shackled mind. The answer to my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The answer to my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A voice that compels all to rebel from all that shackled minds. It's you and me, your mom, it's me. I'm taking another hit from my name. You see now, watch me not now, punch your face now. Let me show you how.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. It is so good to see all of you. Hey there, Takumi Nightcore, Cleaver 120, Out of the Brit, Soarlam, Myth Detrius 985, good to see ya. Definitely not Alice, what's up? Green Moon 2040, how you doing? Not an Enderman, how are you? Cute Bunny Chan 98, good to see you here again. The Nerd, what's up? Wingo, welcome back, it's good to see ya. Dynamis, how are you doing? Ashroom, what's up? Have I said hi to you already, TSW Shadow Wolf? No, I haven't. Hello, TSW the Shadow Wolf. Lapland, how are you doing? Scrumpled Milkskin, good to see ya. Canada's Joel, glad to have you here. First time catching a stream, hello, welcome Blue08. You should come to the website, xanderhall.com/live. If you wonder why I don't tend to read YouTube chat, it's because I'm reading this chat on my website. So good to see all of you. How you doing? I'm back in America from my vacation. I hope your vacation was good, Cute Bunny Chan. Did you have fun? I just realized Ben Shapiro is really boring. I mean, really boring, which is surprising because he talks fast. You would think with all that speed he could at least say something not boring. There's a very, very, very low bar for becoming a millionaire through right-wing politics. Very low bar. The bar, I would actually argue the bar to reach basic stability as a progressive figure is higher than the bar to reach millionaire status as a right-wing figure. I think it's legitimately easier, like, grifting right-wing politics to become a millionaire than it is to become stable as a left-wing figure. I would genuinely say that is the case. That would be my guess. I'm doing well. Just returned from my trip to Zanland, aka Seattle, last week. Oh, hell yeah. Did you enjoy your time in Seattle? The Pacific Northwest is beautiful. I love it up here. I hope you enjoyed your stay. MTG looks like a bloke. What a comment. To be a right-wing pundit, put on a suit and no big words? You don't even gotta put on a suit, to be completely honest. You can just kinda, you know, talk shit. And if you can say things confidently wrong enough to trigger libs, you're gonna be a millionaire, bro. As simple as, you're gonna be a fucking millionaire. That would be funny, Hayden Blake, but I don't know. They would probably just stick with it for the money. I only remember the orca-themed water park in Bellevue. Bellevue's nice, but I don't count it as Seattle. Most don't, who are here at least. The thing about Ben Shapiro is he isn't saying anything, it's just empty words, and like, yeah, sometimes I don't know what to say and my brain is just slow, so I just kind of speak and talk, but there's still some meaning behind it, and hopefully I'm getting my point across, if not with my words, at least with my tone, and the meaning of what I'm trying to say. I get that. Already live on the edge of the Pacific Northwest and agree it's beautiful. Went up to Seattle to meet my dad's friend who is the CEO of a new coffee grinder company. Nice, I hope that was a fun time. I wonder how many right-wing chuds will join the stream today. Probably a few. There's always a few every stream. Hey Xanderall, I finally have the energy to watch a stream again. I might be done with my mandatory overtime early too. Hell yeah, War Penguin, you're finally free? That's what I like to hear. Good shit. No more wagey cagey. Or at least less time in the wagey cagey, I hope. Nice, Scrumpled Milkskin. Emotes aren't showing up on the list and I've refreshed the site a few times. We've got a support link. I don't know how to fix things like that, Scapegoat. You gotta send an email through the support link. It was a short sale this time. Normally it lasts for like an entire month. Nice. Xanderhall, I want to ask you advice on something at what point should you step away from prepared content and go for streaming when you are a content creator as small as I am? I mean, it depends if you want to stop making prepared content. Prepared content's a pain in the dickhole to make, so I would get why you might. I would honestly say, like, do streams while making prepared content, and when your streams are doing well, and the clips from your streams are doing well, maybe you could replace that. Have that replace your prepared content. But you just gotta figure it out based on your preference. When do you feel comfortable making the jump to streaming if you want to go that path? Do you think there is a high chance that QAnoner that Trump picked for FBI director will not be confirmed by Congress? I don't think so. I think he'll be confirmed. We're actually going to be talking about him in this stream today, because he wrote a children's book, and it's psychotic. I believe it's called something like The Plot Against the King. You can guess who the king is in the book. And yes, they gave Trump muscles. The only way he looks like Trump is in the hair and, like, the general, like, the skin color, really. But of course, they Ben Garrisoned Trump. Would it be possible to play World of Warcraft with you guys on Xbox? Are of versions incompatible? If Classic WoW exists on Xbox, then there shouldn't be any version problems. Like, you should be able to play on the server and get on with us, but I don't know if WoW exists for Xbox. It might. I just don't play on console, really, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. WoW is definitely known as a PC game, though, but it could be on console for all I know. Why do they always make a fat tub of lard seem like a strongman? Usually because there are no strongmen among them. Very, very few. The strength and charisma, it's very hard to land the nat 20 on both of those things. Trump landed like a nat 1 when it comes to actual strength, but when it comes to charisma with the genuine brain-dead American people, he landed a nat 20. There has always been a stereotype of Americans being stupid, and that stereotype has existed for a reason. It's because the majority of Americans are stupid and will be fooled into awful things. Always. That is our country. We keep it that way with our bad education system. I looked it up and it said it was a cloud version. Would that be compatible with the PC version you guys are using? A cloud version. I have no idea what that means, but probably, yeah. My guess would be, what that is, Lapland, would be you're using your console as a device to remotely play the game on a PC somewhere. So it's like live streaming the screen of the PC and as close to real time as they can manage. So there'll be a bit of delay because it's a live stream with really low latency, but you're basically live streaming a PC running WoW to your PlayStation. But I don't know how that would work because you would have to make an account and stuff. I guess it would let you log in and whatnot, but I don't know if you could get it to work. It's classic WoW specifically that we're playing, not modern WoW, so make sure you have that in mind. By the way, speaking of which, if anybody is curious what the hell I am talking about, for those who don't know, World of Warcraft, or I should say Blizzard, for the first time in 5 years has dropped brand new, fresh progression servers for Classic WoW that will go on to Burning Crusade and eventually the Wrath of the Lich King expansion over time. So if you've ever wanted to, like, try out WoW and get into it, but you've kind of missed the train, so to speak, and you want to play it with some people, like a pre-made guild of people that you'll be able to play with, I am starting a guild and inviting as many of you guys who want to join as possible. Classic WoW is a ton of fun. If you played Modern WoW and you didn't like it, then that's understandable, because Modern WoW is not considered good. Classic WoW, on the other hand, let's just say there's a reason why it dominated the planet when it came out. It's still very good. There's a reason why people are still playing it in droves. So I highly recommend that you come check out the guild Discord server. I'll go ahead and drop a link to it here for you guys. There you go. I hope to see some of you guys click that link and join the Discord. You'll immediately get into the entry hall, where I want you guys to just basically introduce yourself. Just a basic introduction, few sentences, and from there, Ethan or some of my other friends will look over your introduction, see if you're chill, and give you member to the guild so you can actually access the channels and the VCs and stuff, because otherwise, we don't want it to be a public link where just anyone can hop in and start screaming while we're running a raid or something. Zan, you got a super chat? Are all of my chats broken? Are there people not showing up in chat or something? Are you guys trolling me? Hold on, let me refresh my feed. Okay, a super chat just came in, but that doesn't count. Because that just came in, just now. Yeah, no, there was no super chat before just now. Yeah, y'all are trolling me. Who said that? Oh, okay, you were preempting it, TSW Shadow Wolf. I'm confused, because people have been saying hi to people that aren't in chat, and it's like, what the fuck is going on today? Are you guys high? I know I'm not, so you guys must be the stoned ones today. TSW the Shadow Wolf, thank you for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate it. Says, I want to thank you for inspiring me to become a content creator. Aw, thank you. Well, you're welcome, I guess, but also thank you for the kind words. I like hearing that I was an inspiration. You are my main inspiration, followed by Dylan Burns, Westside Tyler, and Shark. Hell yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I hope you enjoy just doing content. I hope it goes well. Oh my god, someone in chat named All Out Monty 2 has entered. They're terrifying, guys. I'm really scared right now. Do you want to know what they said? They said, "Hey, you bullied my friend, Shadow Raven. Don't think I haven't noticed." Yes, I did bully Shadow Raven. At least someone has finally said it. You bullied my friend. Don't think we haven't noticed. We're coming for you. Who? Alright. Alright, gamers. Unfortunately, I wanted to do some epic gaming today after segments, but unfortunately, sagely, I have errands I have to run after stream tonight, and I don't want to have to walk in the dark too much. Thankfully, the store is closed at 11, so I've got plenty of time to hit up the store. I need to buy more milk because, well, I don't have it right next to me right now, but my shake that I made today for myself, my mass gainer shake, used the last of my milk, and I have to go grab some. So otherwise, I'm not going to have any tomorrow morning. I like to have my shake in the morning on the days that I don't stream, so I want to have it in the morning. Milk is code for weed. That would be funny. No, but I need milk for my mass gainer. I got to keep the pounds coming in. Those mass gainer shakes are 1,250 calories each. And that shit, some good calories. It's how I'm going to put on my weight. Buying milk, you guys, you leaving us? Yeah, guys, I'm gonna go buy milk. I promise I'll be back. You guys will see me again the day after tomorrow. I just need to go buy milk and cigarettes. I will be back. I promise. I should buy some raw milk. You're right. Slash is my homie. I should buy some raw milk. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. But I do like to buy the whole milk. It's pasteurized, but I like to buy whole milk. It tastes better, for sure. Damn, if only I can give you some of my calories. Dude, if you guys could, like, funnel the calorie energy that you guys eat into my body, I promise it would go to good use. I could use the calories. I hate having to stuff my fucking stomach full constantly all day to get, like, to gain weight. It sucks. Do you drink chocolate milk? Well, they're chocolate milkshakes that are made out of, well, it's called Super Mass Gainer. I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys what I drink. Here's the Amazon listing for it. What's it made of? Ingredients: maltodextrin, protein blend, whey protein concentrate, milk protein isolate, whey protein isolate, whey protein hydrosilate. It's just a lot of whey. Yeah, it's just a lot of whey. Some sunflower creamer. Cocoa powder. Creatine. Basic stuff. Basic pre-workout stuff. It's whey protein mixed with creatine, mixed with chocolate, mixed with a bunch of other good stuff, and it's the macros are crazy, dude. For one, 1,250 calories per thingy, like thing that I drink. It's only got 11 grams of fat, which is not bad, but it's got 52 grams of protein per shake, which is not bad when you consider that I eat a lot of protein on top of that. Like, I eat a lot. So yeah, it's definitely helping a lot with weight gain, for sure. I fucking love creatine, dog. As an amateur bodybuilder, I love creatine. Yeah, creatine is great. It is good to get in your body. You feel good drinking this stuff, too. Wow, it's only $37.99 for a tub right now. Usually it's like $60, but right now, I don't know, maybe Biden's economy is in work, because right now it's down to about $38 for a tub of Super Mass Gainer from Dymatize, which is where I get mine. Yeah, per shake, 1,280 calories, 52 grams of protein, and 245 grams of carbs. That right there is why I immediately perk up after drinking my shake while streaming, is I get those carbs into my body, and I just go from like 0 energy to 100. I'm just like, let's fucking go! Can't wait for all of Biden's hard work on the economy to go to the toilet and have the media completely ignore Trump being the reason it's ruined. I don't know if the media will ignore it. We'll have to find out. What you guys got to keep in mind is we're now at the peak of Biden's economy, and we're going to be in the peak of it for a while until Trump takes office and starts passing bills and the effects of his economic policy start to hit, you know? And even when they hit, the hit can be a little delayed too. The worry is that, like, Trump coasts most of his term off of a really good economy, and the damage doesn't hit until after the next election. That's actual nightmare fuel scenario, genuinely, is Trump, like, coasts off of Biden's healing economy, and the economy just continues to peak under Trump, just because he doesn't follow through on any of the things he's promising. Like, imagine he does none of the tariffs, he does none of the things that'll ruin the economy that he ran on, that his supporters think he's going to do that will fix the economy, from what Biden supposedly did to destroy it, and then he does nothing. The economy continues on the track of recovery that Biden put it on, and he reaps all of the credit. That is actually the worst case scenario. I'm not joking. That is the worst case scenario. They did it for 4 years, from 2016 to 2020, Dynamis. There's a chance we'll start seeing the 24/7 coverage by the corporate media like we did in 2016. We might, but then again, MSNBC has made a hard pivot right, and CNN has been bought out by a Republican, so they might just be right-wing news outlets now. Or at the very least, you can basically consider them controlled opposition. So, man, ABC, I think, is still safe for the most part. ABC News is typically pretty chill. What's the point of getting the credit if this is his last term in office? It's to lend credibility to the party, and specifically to the Maga cult, right? Like, if Trump leaves office a failure and destroying the Republican Party, then that's really good for us in the future. But if Trump comes out of this presidency having united the Republicans behind this MAGA Republican branding forever now, then it's bad. Corporate media is the enemy? I wouldn't necessarily say so, War Penguin. I would just say that they are institutions that occasionally, or I would say usually, their interests align with the people, but they are businesses that do want to make money, and while they won't typically lie, because there's so much accountability, there's a lot more accountability than there is in, like, the world of independent media, like what I do, for instance, right? Like, I could lie my ass off about shit, and if it was stuff that... the easiest way for me to grift and make money would be to lie my ass off about shit that you guys want to hear. Like, I don't know, what's some bullshit I could say right now that would make you guys clap?
Donald Trump is just doing what is the desire of all the business people. This is capitalism, and the Democratic Party's fault. If the Dems weren't so cucked to the capitalist ruling class, somehow that would mean that Trump wouldn't have won, even though he's the most cucked to the business ruling class. This makes sense.
And then and like a lot of people would cheer for it, but no, I don't like doing that. But great Shapiro impersonation. That is not a good Shapiro impression. What are you talking about, Endo Kukin? Here's a good Ben Shapiro impression.
My wife, I don't get her pussy wet, because that is sinful, and that does not happen naturally. If your girlfriend has a wet vagina, you need to take her to the doctor, because that is not normal. It is very not normal. There is a sign of an infection, or something is wrong there, okay? I don't pretend to understand the intricacies of the female reproductive system. All right, I'm a man. I shouldn't know these things, but I can assure you, from what my wife told me, it is not normal for a woman's vagina to be wet.
That's my best Ben Shapiro impression. This is fantastic. Well, that's literally Ben Shapiro, like, what he said. You guys know that, right? You know, he said that. Wait, I'm starting to realize many of you in chat are, like, 5, so you guys wouldn't even know. You guys wouldn't even know about the 2020 wet-ass P-word scenario. I always forget, like, man, memes from 4 years ago, half of you in chat weren't here then. You know? Yeah, some of you remember, but there's a good few here who are like, what? The 2020 what? Yeah, the 2020 Ben Shapiro WAP fiasco. You don't know? I remember it like yesterday. Try to do an impression of Penis Prager. Oh man, hold on. A world without killing is not a world I can't do it. A world without killing is not a world I want to live in. I can't do his... That's Bernie, I can't. It's not in my vocal register, I can't hit that. I can't hit that impression, it's not doable for me. I can do a good Bernie, though. Bernie's one I can do. The American people are tired of women! I accuse you of capping. Wait, that's really good? Yeah, my Bernie one is peak. Bro, oh shit, it's Bernie! Whoa, Bernie? Your Trump impression is hilarious, even though it's not quite spot on. Dude, you have to practice impressions to get them good. Over time, they will get better. Just chill and wait, alright? He said that? Wow, does he really believe that? Does he not know that his wife basically isn't interested in him sexually? Basically, the song WAP came out, and Ben Shapiro was trying to criticize the lyrics and tried to use the own that his wife, who's a doctor, told him that if you need a bucket and a mop for that wet-ass pussy, then it must be a sign of a yeast infection. And so everyone took this as Ben's wife reassuring him that they're not supposed to be wet. Ben, don't worry, they're not supposed to be wet. Don't worry. Don't worry, Ben, you're doing fine. Wife making excuses why her shit dry? I don't know, I'd say that's his fucking fault, dude. She's clearly not very into it. He's not doing a good enough job. Aaron Hansen's Obama impression is one of my faves ever, though. Yeah, I love the Game Grumps. They're pretty based. Apparently, it's confirmed Ben Shapiro doesn't bathe often. Well, I'd assume he showers, because he's an adult. But, if he doesn't shower frequently, that's pretty gross. Yeah, I feel like Ben's gotta be a one-pump chump, right? Like, for sure. Because he doesn't believe in, like, the female orgasm or whatever. I don't think any Republicans do. Wild how many women just continue to just flock to Republican shit these days when you consider. Like, these people don't believe in the female orgasm, okay? Like, they don't believe it's real. If they believe it's real, they believe it's, like, an evil thing. Women are tired? I mean, they're dating these Republicans. I don't get it. Xander Hall, can we have a big list of lefty YouTubers compiled by the community for you to do a tier list of? No, I've done this before. I'm going to start muting everyone who asks for a lefty streamer tier list. You're getting a week-long mute every time you ask, because I've done this, like, several times in the past, and I don't care about the lefty streaming space anymore, like, or the lefty content creation space. I've lost respect for everyone but a very small handful of people, so consider it F tier for everyone but, like, a few select people. I don't care about any of them. I'm just doing my own thing. I need you guys to understand. I'm not tapped into that space. I don't even go... I barely go on Blue Sky, even though that's like the new Twitter. But I go on there from time to time. I don't follow any other content creators there that I didn't already follow from like a year or so before. I just don't follow that space. I couldn't give you guys this, what you're asking for with that video. You know, I couldn't do it. I wouldn't know anything. Yeah, pretty much like, I think I like Brian Taylor Cohen. Obviously, I like Dylan and Shark and Westside Tyler. I think they're pretty cool. I like Josiah, the guy involved in progressive politics. He does content, I think, and he's pretty chill. I worked with him on Progressive Victory, and he was super nice and very, like, just... He was always like, hey, dude... Here's like a link to a crazy ass story. You should cover this. And it's like, hell yeah, I needed a topic to cover. It's a very nice dude. Fuck. I can't think of anything else. Pondering Politics, maybe. Is that lefty? Because I know there's a dude named Josiah who's right wing, so I don't want people to be confused. I like Luke Beasley. David Pakman is cool. I've followed David Pakman for a long time, so I've known of some pretty awful takes he's had in the past that are hard to kind of forget. Notably, the Bolivia thing was pretty cringe. For those who don't remember, a few years ago, Bolivia had basically a coup. The popular Demsoc elected president, who was very, very high approval rating, very popular among the people, had won 2 consecutive terms, but there were term limits in the country. And due to popular demand, and I mean this, like popular demand. Oh, I like Rashad Crenshaw. Yeah, I do like him. Due to popular demand, though, he ended up destroying the constitutional requirement or mandate for 2 terms. He allowed for more terms so that he could run again and win. And he did. He ran again and he won, right? He did basically what we fear Trump would do. But he was so popular, so beloved, and so working class that the people there were not upset. And for the most part, people overseas were not upset about it. But the US was pissed and backed and supported the military, cooing him out of office on his first, or I should say his first day of his 3rd term. He was forced to flee the country, and the military and the US installed I forget what her name is, like Anya something... but she became the new temporary sitting president of Bolivia. And she's like full-on like fascist, like full-on far-right, refers to like the indigenous people of Bolivia as vermin type shit. Mind you, Evo Morales, who was the popular president that was ousted, was of indigenous descent in Bolivia, if I'm not mistaken, and the majority of the population in Bolivia is indigenous descent. And so you've got these very wealthy ruling class white Spaniard descendant Europeans that have ruled the government and controlled Bolivia for a long time. A indigenous descendant, very working class, progressive, wins and gets ousted. They put a white European fascist in charge via backing of the U.S. with a military coup. David Pakman defended this because he believed that what Evo Morales did was anti-democracy, and it's like, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't even know if technically Trump eliminating term limits would be anti-democracy. I know that there are countries that don't have term limits. I can see why they exist. I don't know if they're necessarily a good thing always, though. I still don't know how I feel about that situation. Because it's kind of like adding more seats to the Supreme Court. Like right now, that seems like a really good idea, and we would probably be in favor of it if Biden or if we were able to add more seats to the Supreme Court and Biden could appoint more blue justices, we'd like that. But then once they, like, who knows, that could end up with, like, a even more red-stacked Supreme Court in the future, right? And so, I have no idea why you're screaming no in chat, Scrumpled Milkskin. I haven't said a word. I have not finished my sentence. Yeah, I don't know if that would be, like... It kind of reminds me of that, where it's, like... Depending on the time, you might be in favor of that, but you might want to be against it as a whole, considering the times might not always make that a good thing. Yeah, scrambled milk skin, that's what I was saying too. I'm sorry, it was just weird to spam no over and over again in chat while I make a point. It's, oh god, one of my biggest pet peeves as a streamer is when people, like, seem like they're taking umbrage with something I've said before I finish saying it. That shit, oh. I know you weren't doing that, but it looked like it. Because I couldn't tell why you were saying no. And it sent a, like a shot up my spine. I don't know how else to describe it. Oh. Regardless, though, David Pakman was very much in favor of the coup that the U.S. backed in Bolivia. And that was, like, a very... Man, there's a moment where I don't know if I'm really in favor of the take that he has here. Because he was very anti-Evo Morales. Didn't really give any ground to the idea that he was popular and, like, another Evo presidency was the will of the people in Bolivia. He didn't give any ground to that point. He was just fully against it. If that's who the people wanted, so be it. It's hard to say, right? Alright. Well, guys. Let's hop into things, shall we? Alright. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. So guys, yesterday on stream, I also did a segment about Joe Rogan. 2 Joe Rogan segments in 2 streams in a row. I know, it's crazy. I'm obsessed. But I do think there's a good reason to talk about him again today. And that is because of something that he said on his podcast yesterday that went viral last night. Sadly, I didn't have... this information wasn't out there when I made yesterday's segment, otherwise I would have just kind of tied these together into one whole segment. Joe Rogan, I need you guys to understand, is by far the most listened to person on the planet. He is someone who in no way, shape, or form fronts himself as a persuasive speaker. He is not someone who's trying to sell you anything. Not an ideology, not a worldview, maybe some merch, maybe some... I think he sells, like, like, supplements and stuff. But in terms of an ideology, he's not trying to sell you anything. That's the perception that people have of him. He's just a normal guy having conversations. He's had a storied history in the world of celebritydom over the years. So there's that you got to consider. You know, from, commentating on the UFC, to hosting Fear Factor, to as much as none of us find him funny, he is a very successful comedian, because most Americans seem to find him funny. And everything about his personality is, I mean, you can say Tim Walz was John America, but he wasn't. Tim Walz was everything that Americans want the world to think we are. Joe Rogan is everything that Americans actually are. And if you know a lot about Joe Rogan, then that comparison, that point, should have started drawing a lot of connections for you. Because yes, Joe Rogan is literally the face of the American dream. Being an uneducated, dumb guy who fails upward into immense success, who's accountable to no one, who, just eventually ends up getting to the top of the totem pole through seemingly their own merit, I guess. I don't know how rich Joe Rogan started out, but he was definitely not as rich as he is now at the start. He definitely built himself up. And so in the eyes of a lot of Americans, he is the perfect American. He is a big role model for much of America, period. Left or right, Joe Rogan is considered a role model. There is no stopping Joe Rogan, or destroying Joe Rogan, or discrediting Joe Rogan. Because Joe Rogan's magic is that he has no agenda, and no one is there to hear him push an agenda. He has no accountability because he's not there to make points that need accounting for. He is just a guy that has a massive audience, and people go there, and the way he talks about things and expresses his opinions, especially if he's brought a guest on that seems smart and well-spoken, and like he's agreeing with them, it persuades people unintentionally. I don't think that was ever Joe Rogan's intention. But as people started to be shifted right by Joe Rogan's choice of guests and his lack of pushback, the left quickly rejected Joe Rogan. And obviously I've played my own part in this, calls him out every time he makes a slip up. And I want to say, as a progressive, well, fuck him. He should recognize that he's wrong and being called out for a reason and change. But then on the other hand, I recognize that people are people. Especially people as stupid as Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is the quintessential American here. He is John America, after all. He's dumb. And he's over-emotional. And his worldview, his ideology, his beliefs, they are all morphable like Play-Doh. And the mold is the vibes. And so, over the last 4 years, the vibes have turned sour on the left for Joe Rogan. And now, whether we like it or not, the most popular and listened to voice on the planet endorsed Donald Trump. Not only is publicly anti-vax, anti-Ukraine, as we covered yesterday as well. He said, I believe he referred to the Ukrainian people as a bunch of monkeys in that clip that we covered yesterday. Well, he also, of course, publicly, for the first time, endorsed a presidential candidate. And that was Donald Trump. He endorsed Trump. And you are not going to believe his reasoning for why he endorses Trump. And I need to explain to you here, this is why we are losing. I don't even know if it's any fault of the left. I think it's just the fact that the American people have decided that if you're on the left, if any individual does something that even looks bad, that reflects poorly on you. But if you're on the right and you do something bad, that might not even reflect poorly on you. There might be a million excuses for why you did what you did. There will always be sanity washing. There will always be a reason or something, because it must have been the crazy lefties that made them do that, right? Did you see Joe Rogan is getting viewer support from Russia? Yeah, he's also obviously very audience captured, so he's no doubt going to be much further towards the pro-Russia side of things. Here's my prediction. In the next 2 years, Joe Rogan will take a government-sponsored guided tour of Russia, and he will do what Carlson did, what Tucker Carlson did. He's going to go to the Russian grocery stores and marvel at how cheap the groceries are. He's going to go to... that worked, by the way. Remember, that was a very winning topic, was the egg prices. Tucker Carlson went to that Russian grocery store, remember, in that promotional video for Trump and Putin, about how, like, cheap the groceries are in Russia, because Americans don't understand the idea of other countries having, like, lower cost of living to match their lower wages compared to the U.S., and so, like, to Americans, they just see super cheap groceries because they don't understand the concept of other countries having different ratios of earning to buying power for their money. Anyway, it's just... It's actually just brain poison. And I want you to watch this clip, because if you don't believe me that there is an actual brain poison or a point at which these people stop being rationally thinking people and they just become sycophants for a cause, this is that point. Watch this.
Well, I wanted to stay out of the presidential election shit.
Yeah,
It's
what happened?
gross. Because I feel like I had to. I feel like this is so nuts. This is so nuts. When that Tim Walz guy, it's so nuts that guy was going to be the vice president.
Pretending to be
You're telling
head
me,
coach.
you're telling me this whole thing's fake then. You're telling me you don't care if someone's a liar. You don't care if they lied about their military rank, where they served. You don't care if they lie about being an assistant. You don't care if they lie about Tiananmen Square. There's too many things. This is so crazy. You would get fired if you were an assistant manager at a fucking oil changing company.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to stay out.
So, for those that don't know, Joe Rogan, when he refers to the lies of Tim Walz, by the way, is referring to the fact that at one point Tim Walz said weapons of war should not be in the hands of U.S. citizens while arguing in favor of gun control policy, and said, I think he had said the weapons of war should only be held by soldiers like I held them. Trust me, I know. These are dangerous, something like that. And the way he worded it sounds like he said that he had been in battle, and Vance called him out and said, you were never actually in battle. But neither was Vance, by the way, which is also, something that you guys probably never heard from the media. But you better believe the media heavily pushed the idea that Walz lied about fighting in battle in the military, because he never fought in battle, to be clear. But Vance claimed that Walz lied. Joe Rogan obviously ate up the claim from Vance, and now Joe Rogan clearly went into the election thinking that Tim Walz was this massive liar stealing valor and pretending to be in the military, I guess. Misconstruing Walz's words. That's what Vance did, but you better believe Joe Rogan ate it all up. I watch a lot of podcasts, and I genuinely think... I heard a YouTuber say, I think a podcast mic should be harder to buy than a fucking gun, and I agree. Rich white dudes make up 95% of the podcast sphere. Like, a lot of the podcasts, like not the biggest ones, but the ones that fill a lot of the middle of the road, but, still kind of big podcasts out there, are made up of, like, ex-big YouTuber or streamer, wealthy, retired, 30s-plus-year-old white guys. They almost consume nothing but Fox News, Joe Rogan, and alternative media that's on the right, and they just have conversations in which their right-wing politics are already a given. There's no debate, there's no discussion or anything. It's just about how crazy the left is and how the left is doing this crazy thing. That's always just a random out-of-nowhere topic in any normal podcast, even if it's not a political podcast. If you watch a podcast online, it's almost certainly a bunch of 30s to 50s white dudes. And even if it's like a podcast about sports, they're going to be like, you hear about what Kamala Harris said the other day? This bitch is crazy. I listen to a lot of podcasts in my free time while I'm doing chores, while I'm cleaning, while I'm just doing anything that I need to keep my brain occupied by. And it is crazy how often I got to click off because I'm hearing some retarded shit. And these podcasts are so effective at persuading people. Like I said, not because they are meant to be persuasive. That's why political podcasts, I think, to an extent, are completely useless. They're not meant to be convincing. They're just a podcast, just some dudes talking about life, and you're there for the personalities, and they happen to overwhelmingly statistically be right-wing, and they're just buddies talking and happening to be conservative. You feel like that extra buddy in the room who's slowly pulled to their politics. You watch Joe Rogan, and you watch this clip. I want you to watch this clip and tell me that as a completely apolitical viewer, this doesn't come off as just Joe Rogan as an apolitical guy who doesn't like politics being blown away by the insane lies of the Dems. And this guy, who is the most heard person on the planet, people hear him say this, and he's not trying to convince them. He has no reason to lie to them. He's just speaking the truth. The vast majority of people will not even think for a second about if Joe Rogan is wrong or lying to them, because he has no prerogative to do so. That's not his thing. He's just a guy who talks about shit, and they all know it. And so when they watch this is more persuasive rhetoric than anything a political pundit could say directly to try and persuade people.
Well, I wanted to stay out of the presidential election shit.
Yeah,
It's
what happened?
gross.
He hates politics. He finds it gross, just like most Americans do. Most Americans do not vote because they don't like politics.
Because I feel like I had to. I feel like this.
But he felt like he had to endorse somebody because he hates politics, but this time around, the left was so crazy.
This is so nuts. This is so nuts. When that Tim Walz guy,
Tim Walz, such a liar.
guys, it's so nuts that guy was going to be the vice president. You're telling me, you're telling me this whole thing's fake. Then you're telling me you don't care if someone's a liar. You don't care if they lied about their military rank, where they served. You don't care if they lie about being an assistant. You don't care if they lie about Tiananmen.
Walz never lied about his military rank, by the way. or about where he served.
Square. There's too many things. This is so crazy. You would get fired if you were an assistant manager at a fucking oil changing company.
Yeah, and of course, like, the very, like, Tim Walz would get fired if he worked at a company that changes oil. Like, the most... You ever talk to somebody who's, like, really up their own ass? Like, they think they're the smartest person in the world. They're usually a bit older. They're usually from a more rural area and didn't have a big, like, higher education. And they've gotten old enough at the point where they think they get everything and they know everything through intuition. That is the demographic that watches Joe Rogan. That is the demographic that Joe Rogan is a part of. And when he says something like, oh, come on, just think about it, or something like that, when he makes a point, the people who watch him go, this guy's a genius. Even apolitically, I need details to know why this guy thinks that. No, you don't, Ada the Brit, because this is the most listened to voice on the planet. You can say, like, oh, no, Zan, you're wrong. No. Objectively, this is the most listened to person on our hunk of rock we exist in space, okay? Everyone is already taking everything he says at face value and taking it as truth, because he is a successful guy who brings scientists and is friends with Elon Musk, the world's smartest man as far as most Americans are concerned. Like, the fact is, we've lost the meme war. Joe Rogan... And there was a meme war. I know we call this cringe, but there was a meme war. Joe Rogan is a meme lord. Everyone watches and recognizes Joe Rogan, and they take what he has to say seriously because he's not a sycophant or a demagogue. And so when he's brainwashed by the right, he brainwashes everyone who watches him. What's so crazy... Joe built his platform off interviewing a wide range of guests. He only went full right-wing after Spotify. Yeah, Risk Grains. Are you talking to someone in chat? Because that's not, like, against anything that I'm saying now. Oh, wait. You are actually legit doing the Nozan repeating my take thing. Okay, you're banned. Anyway, so as I was saying, Joe Rogan is immensely popular. He has been brainwashed by the right. And you know what? You want to know why I call it brainwashing? Donald Trump lies undeniably so more than any politician ever. He has more money backing him than any politician ever. He is more connected to the establishment, quote unquote, than any politician ever. He has stronger Epstein ties than any other politician that I am, like, main politician that has run for president, at least as far as I know. I don't even think Clinton was as tied with Epstein as Trump is. Trump was on the flight logs too, wasn't he? The Epstein flight logs. So, despite all these things being very publicly known, Joe Rogan and the right and the normies who are falling to the right have chosen to ignore all that information, to assume it must just be part of the left's constant Trump derangement syndrome, and now they've got Musk derangement syndrome. They've started using that now. You've got either TDS or MDS. You've got Trump derangement syndrome or Musk derangement syndrome if you don't like either of them. And so it's a discrediting of anyone who takes issues with them, calling them deranged or obsessed. It's a very similar tactic to what Hassan does with his critics. And then they deny and make a mountain out of a molehill, like anything the left is perceived as doing wrong, while sanity washing and actively covering up and refusing to give any brain space to the things that Trump and the Republicans do. It's like Trump, as he used in his own example, could go shoot somebody in Times Square and no one will complain about it. Everyone will make excuses for it. But if Biden makes a joke about Trump supporters, like some Trump supporters being trashy people, which he did, the entire right media apparatus goes after him and claims that Biden is attacking Americans. This is a real thing that happened. You know, Biden pardons his son for charges that no Republican should be in favor of outside of maybe the drug charges. And all of a sudden, like, it's the end of the world, massive breach of power, massive breach of interest. and yet Trump is literally running on releasing the quote-unquote J6th hostages, as he calls them. He's going to be pardoning all the January 6th people when he takes office, as he's promised. He calls them the J6th hostages, even though those people were there to take hostages in the Capitol building. They were there with zip ties. Even Legal Eagle was cringe on the Biden pardon. Yeah, Legal Eagle's a centrist. The point of why I kept on watching Legal Eagle videos when he talks about Trump is that even a non-overtly left-leaning, like, centrist person who's just educated well recognizes how overtly, like, apolitically wrong Trump is, like, on an objective level. But the American people are not, like, even the apolitical American people are not educated lawyer types like him. But yeah. I mean, technically what Biden did was, I guess you could consider a breach of power, but, tough. Trump's taken office. If you guys don't, if anybody takes problem with that, then they shouldn't have let Trump win. They shouldn't have voted for Trump. Now, Hunter Biden has been given a blanket pardon. They can never get him in prison. They cannot politically persecute him anymore, which is what they were doing. They were accusing the Bidens of leveraging legal lawfare against Trump while actually doing so against Hunter Biden. Yeah, like Hunter Biden should not have gotten in trouble for the things he got in trouble for. It is objectively true that in any other circumstance, the things he was charged with, the worst he would have gotten would have been like a fine or community service. Legitimately, like a fine or community service is the worst thing on the table for anyone else but Hunter Biden. But because he was the president's son, the Republican-appointed judge, mind you, Trump-appointed judge, I should actually remind you, the Trump-appointed judge who convicted Hunter Biden chose the worst possible sentence that you can possibly get for those charges. Like, they gave the maximum, the maximum you can give on every single charge to Hunter, when that never happens. This was a Trump-appointed judge, too. It was a full-on, actual political lawfare. And yet Trump was calling that out at every point in which he was being charged for, in some cases by judges he appointed, for his felonies. Yeah, Biden would not have pardoned Hunter if Harris won. I would easily bet that, yeah. Easily. The reason why Hunter had to get, like, pardoned was no doubt because Trump, while president and with full control of the government, was going to try and, like, keep Hunter in prison for the rest of his life. Like they were going to try to find anything. You gotta remember, Kash Patel, the FBI director Trump picked, has outright said they're coming after the media. Like, Trump dissonance in the media, maybe even people who make videos, like, on the internet, like me, the FBI is coming after us. So I might get arrested by the FBI for being anti-Trump. We'll have to see. I think as long as the Constitution exists, I'm safe, but, I mean, I'll keep on making videos criticizing the government until they come to get me, but we are moving towards a Russia, like, state. Like, they're trying to make America Russia. So we just gotta hope we're not too close to being Russia in the next 4 years. Because one of the first things that Trump plans to do is to lock down the rights of the press and the media to criticize him. That's going to be very early on in the presidency. He's going to be getting to work on that immediately. So, yeah. Things are getting pretty crazy. Joe Rogan is now basically just, like... You know what's wild? Joe Rogan is now U.S. state-affiliated media. Like, Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, like, they're all in the pockets of Trump. They're now, like, Twitter, Joe Rogan's podcast. These are all, like, U.S., not even U.S., but specifically Republican state media. Much like Russia Today, where it's like, this is by the Russian government for, like, indoctrinating the Russian people. That is what Joe Rogan is now, but for Trump and the American people. He's going to probably be dick-riding Trump the entire next 4 years, helping to, like, sanity wash everything that goes down. Well, Supreme Peasant, Russia's going to be... Like, Russia and America are going to conquer the world together in the next 4 years, Supreme Peasant. Like America's going to step back, let Russia conquer as much of Europe as Russia can conquer in the next 4 years, because we're not going to be getting involved. We're going to let them do so. And meanwhile, we're going to start... I don't know if you guys heard. I want to wrap up this segment, but the Supreme Court is looking at what things they're going to be banning in regards to trans care. So the Supreme Court is already looking to, like, day one Trump's in office, start restricting, on a federal level, no matter where you are in America, start banning and restricting trans care. It's already, the Supreme Court is already meeting about it. Like, they're already planning out the next 4 years of anti-trans legislation. And this will be federal, very hard to reverse. Like, if you're trans, honestly, go to a blue state, but even that's not going to be able to protect you from, like, hormones might get banned. Hormones for trans people might be federally banned. Like, straight up, you cannot get them in America anymore. Like, the Supreme Court is having that talk. They're looking at serious crackdowns on trans rights. Black market, let's go, baby! It's gonna be big. Mind you, I love how much there's been, like, as the election as Trump's election continues to get worse, I hope that the lefties, who are all about how, like, we need to have solidarity. We need to have solidarity with the people of Palestine. Or, like, I hope they get a lot of the flack, because not only did Biden make every possible move to do a ceasefire in Gaza, which they don't care about or anything. Like, Trump personally told Netanyahu not to accept any ceasefires and just to keep on killing them Palestinians no matter what Biden does until Trump takes office. And Netanyahu said yes, because Trump and Netanyahu are friends. But the Muslim population in Dearborn, Michigan, leaned very heavy towards Trump. They leaned heavier Trump than they leaned Kamala. And I think that is just... I think that's just insane. Because there's nothing Biden could have done to, like, please the demographics that were voting against Kamala because of Israel-Palestine. Like, there's literally nothing that could have been done. So the lefties who kept on shitting on the current incumbent administration, I genuinely hope they get the blame for all of the marginalized groups that are about to lose their rights. They genuinely deserve the blame. They do. They helped to push anyone who at any point unironically said Genocide Joe. I hope they get blacklisted from any work with the DNC. I heard that Destiny and a bunch of other, like, liberal content creators are using their connections to the DNC to blacklist as many, like, far left figures from working with the Democrats in the future. So Hassan will hopefully be blacklisted. Big time. They're trying to get Hassan blacklisted from any talks with politicians like Rokana, AOC, Bernie Sanders. No more of that. We gotta stop giving credibility to these people who will actively attack the Dem candidate. Fuck you too, Zan. Fuck you as well, Ray Pollock. Enjoy the ban. So yeah, very happy to see that those folks are gonna be getting, like, massively blacklisted. I mean, after Destiny's leak last week, I'm not sure how much influence he'll have on the DNC. Wait, getting revenge porn leaked of him? I don't think revenge porn being leaked of you makes your chances of working with the DNC worse. I'd say people that spread the revenge porn are more likely to be blacklisted by the DNC. It is pretty funny, though. It is pretty funny. I just can't believe Destiny be sucking dick with a beard, though. Like I cannot imagine that, like, getting your dick sucked and feeling beard hair on it. Like, that shit just sends a crawl up my spine. Probably because I'm not gay. But even if I was, I feel like you would want, like, just a smooth shaven, like, you would want some smooth shaven face, like if you're gonna be getting your dick sucked, you don't want to feel any of that hair. I feel like that can't be good. That can't be good. Yeah, dude, then your balls are gonna be getting, like, poked by beard hair. Yeah, that shit's awful, man. There ain't no way Destiny's giving good head. Don't judge, Zan. Listen, maybe I don't know the glory of it, okay? Maybe I'm not gay enough. I can't know the glory of the blowjob beard. But, in all seriousness, though, I feel like with that beard, there's no way Destiny's giving good head, alright? There's just no way. There's no way. I need to know. I need to know if he's the throat goat. Wait, you're against the left? No? I think I'm just gonna ban you. You're annoying, radical trans girl. Just for that comment, you're probably annoying, and I'm gonna ban you. Just because I don't even care to find out whether or not you're cringe. Dudes with beards eat pussy all the time. If I'm going to eat a girl out, I'm shaving first. That's just how it's gonna go. I'm shaving my whole face, and I'm gonna use a razor. Because I'm going to be eating a girl out. What the fuck do you expect? I know for a fact that girls don't like it when guys have facial hair and they eat them out. They don't like it. Anyway, Jesus Christ, I forgot to end segment. That's all included in this segment. You know what? We're keeping it in. We're keeping that shit in here. Fuck it. The throat goat segment the throat goat portion of this segment stays in. You think Joe Rogan, because we know Joe Rogan's like a little gay, right? He's done those stand-up comedy shows where he talks about like anal he really loves talking about anal stimulation, like a lot. Like he clearly has taken it up the ass because he talks in detail about how like anal prostate stimulation is the best way for a man to have an orgasm. He's like very emphatic about this fact. So I think he's taking it up the ass. Hypers in chat if you think... Comment down below, yes or no, if you think Joe Rogan has taken it up the ass. I'm very curious what you guys think. I believe he has. Anyway, if y'all enjoyed this segment, if you thought it was good, if you thought it was entertaining, educational, or enjoyable, then please consider leaving a like. Whether you're watching live or after the fact, they help a ton. And of course, a comment too. Likes and comments are the best way to boost my channel and my content in the algorithm and get it into the eyes of new viewers and old alike. So I really do appreciate it. It's totally free. So yeah, thanks for the likes and comments. Subscribe and ring the bell icon if you haven't already so that YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video, because otherwise they will not. Trust me. And if you want to see more from me on other platforms, be sure to follow my social medias, which are all linked down below in the description, including my Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, fan Discord, my Blue Sky, and do not forget, well yeah, that's pretty much it. I highly recommend you follow me on Blue Sky, getting more active there, it's kind of the new Twitter. Highly recommend you join my fan Discord as well, as that is the main hub and pillar of my fan base and community. In fact, at least once a week on Fridays, I host gaming events, call-in streams, watch parties, all sorts of cool stuff there. So I hope to see you guys chilling out in my Discord. It's a great, great time. And finally, if you want to support me directly financially, you want to perhaps help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some merch through the Streamlabs link down below in the description. But with all of that said, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one. Andrew Zagola, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, instead of equating Trump to Hitler, we should compare him to Stalin instead. Let the right fume over that. Honestly, yeah. Honestly, Trump and Stalin do have a fair amount in common, particularly the weaponization of actually socialist rhetoric. A lot of Donald Trump's rhetoric is socialistic in nature, but his policy is not. His actual beliefs are not. But socialist it's actually overtly anti-socialist. He's even rhetorically says that socialism and communism are bad, but the actual message that he uses to gain support is socialistic in nature. Which is basically just what populism is as a whole. Populism is now a tool. Like, socialism isn't really a political ideology anymore. It's a tool. Like, socialism and communism will always be dirty words, but the ideas have gotten pretty popular. Like, the fundamental core concepts of socialism are really popular with the American people. The thing is, you will never get them to support the idea of socialism, or anything bordering on socialistic, but they'll support the actual policy. You just can't call it that. In fact, it's the ideas of socialist rhetoric are what Trump ran on. The idea of making life more affordable for the working class, that like the workers should have more institutional power here in America, bring manufacturing back and creating like a laboring American working class that like controls production in the US. These are relatively protectionist socialistic ideas that he's run on for the popularity of the ideas, but he is fundamentally against where they come from. And I think that's a really interesting thing, because Stalin was much the same. Marxist-Leninism. Like, all Marxist-Leninists are tankies. There are no non-tanky MLs. If someone calls themselves an ML, it's an instant, like, funnily enough, it's a red flag. I would call it a black flag. Like, they've just self-reported they're a tanky to you. Anyone who tries to argue that not all MLs are tankies is a tanky, trying to build that distinction, or trying to create a distinction where there is none, so that they can have plausible deniability. Marxist-Leninism was invented by Stalin. It's a Stalinistic idea that appropriates the ideas of Lenin and Marx in order to become, basically creating a perverted, state-sponsored socialism that is rhetorically super working class, super pro the people, so you can get the fanatical support of the of the citizens, but in essence and in effect, especially when the leader actually takes power and starts doing things, in Stalin's case, they're just a dictator. They're just insane. They don't do anything for the people. I mean, Stalin literally, like, he literally caused a famine. And then when the famine happened, he was like, you know what? Let's take all the grain from the Ukrainians and starve them to death. And then millions of Ukrainians died. Yeah. I was suggested a Luna Oi video while I was watching, I think, a video about Blades in the Dark. Yeah, Luna Oi is a tanky as well, but her whole thing is being cucked for the state of Vietnam. Not just Ukraine, Kazakhstan too? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Stalin literally just, like, farmed, or I should say didn't farm, because there was no farming happening, because all the workers were in factories, but, or all the farmers were working in factories, but he took all of the, what are now considered, like, old Soviet satellite states, he took all of their grain, and then he just had it be distributed among, like, the people of Russia, or what are now modern-day Russia, because you gotta remember that, like, the USSR was massively imperialist, conquered a lot of land, and a lot of, like, ethnic groups were under the control of Soviet Russia that had no, like, desire to be part of it. They were just conquered. And when the famine happened due to Stalin's unbelievably poor leadership, Trump-tier poor leadership, it was the groups that had been conquered by the USSR, well, not even by the USSR, I think they were conquered by, like, the Tsar, by, like, the royal family that came before. And so, like, the lands were already not theirs, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know a shitload about Russian history, but I know that. I know enough to tell tankies they're retarded. Oh yeah, Stalin loved purging people that were against him, of course, very much like Trump. Honestly, yeah, you know what? Trump is the new Stalin. Trump is modern-day Stalin. We should start using that comparison. That's actually really good. The Lancer, thank you so much for the $5 donation. I really appreciate it. It says, hormone medications cover HRT, ED medicine, insulin, thyroid medicine, psych meds, birth control, anxiety/depression meds, ADHD meds. Yeah, I think they're looking to ban HRT specifically for trans people. Not like they're currently planning how they can target trans people by eliminating their rights. The Supreme Court is. Don't worry, I'm doing a whole segment about it today. Anyway, thank you for the $5, DeLancer. I appreciate it. Very kind of you. We have made $5 so far this stream. Hey guys, what other streamers are you all donating your money to? What the fuck? I'm just joking. Birth control is probably on the chopping block as soon as they can. Oh, for sure. Birth control, abortions.
$5 a month. $5 a month.
No, listen, Wingo's always coming in clutch. Wingo donates every stream. Wingo's goated. We love Wingo. Shout out to Wingo. Trump already admitted he would go after hospitals that have endocrinologists as part of the anti-trans tantrum. Yep. Indeed, indeed. The only streamer I donate money to is Zan, based. No, in all seriousness, though, I think it's important to recognize where the left is also at a disadvantage in that what group, what fundamentally is the group advocating for and to? Like, what audience would a progressive figure be generally appealing to on a natural level, just by default? The disenfranchised. Like, across the board, just the disenfranchised. People who don't tend to have a lot of extra money, right? And so with the right, whose entire thing is defending the interests of the wealthy and the powerful, they have the support of the wealthy and the powerful. We do not. And even in regards to grassroots support, we have the grassroots support of people who don't really have a lot of extra income to supply grassroots support. And so that's why I think, man, I hope the left can actually rival the right's misinformation machine they've built. I am genuinely skeptical that we can, though. I'm genuinely skeptical that even algorithmically we can. But hey, it's totally free to leave a like, so I highly recommend you do that. Nick D, thank you for the $10 donation. I really appreciate that. Very kind of you. Says I've been giving Westside Tyler most of my money. Makes sense, makes sense. Makes sense. There's gonna be more streamers entering the space. Urgh. The left has its own misinfo machine. It's named Hassan. Yeah, it is shitty that, like, the most successful progressive figures are all misinfo merchants, too. Yeah. True, the bunny treat donation incentive is crazy. True. True. TSW the Shadow Wolf. Yeah. I will say, ever since Trump got elected, or ever since the Trump election went through, I've noticed that stream donos have gotten so low that I've had to order less groceries. Like, legitimately. That's not even a joke, and I'm not complaining. It is what it is. You guys have less money or are saving for the impact on the economy. But I've actively noticed it so much, I'm like, I'm gonna buy less groceries this time around. I can't afford what I used to. Because, you know, it's just YouTube ad rev. You gotta wait for those checks now. Oh my god, Zan, that sucks. Yeah, it sucks, but income is wild as a YouTuber. It fluctuates massively. And, as I said, it is a much higher bar to reach financial stability as a progressive figure. It is harder to reach financial stability doing what I do than it is to become a millionaire being a right-wing figure. By now, if I had put in the amount of work and, like, the time, the amount of videos, the everything that I put into this channel as a conservative grifter, I'd be a millionaire right now. At least the channel is blowing up. It is. It's just rough because, you know, you gotta wait months. It's 1 month for every YouTube paycheck, so I gotta make that last. Gotta make sure I got enough food to eat. I can make my bills. I can meet my bills and everything. It's rough, dude. It's rough. I've lived paycheck to paycheck the entire time I've done YouTube. There has never been a month in my entire YouTube career where I've been able to comfortably put aside a lot for savings. I hope you guys know that. That is like, even at 100k subs, this is the financial situation of progressive content creation. And I'm open about that. I don't lie about, like, I don't lie and say that I'm worse off than I am or I'm better off than I am for flexing. I'm just open with, like, yeah, I things are tight. I make enough, but it's never going to be enough to, like, at this rate, to build things into a empire like I would like to do one day. And that's my hope. is that one day I can make this into like an empire that goes beyond me. Like lots of creators involved. Like it wouldn't just be like the Xander Hall channel. It'd be like whatever group of creators could like create some sort of hub channel, whatever that would be called. I don't know what we would call that, but that's always been my dream. Like my dream has been to create a network of sorts, and for me to work with a bunch of other creators on that network. That's the goal. And unfortunately, people like Hassan will never do this. They'll never do this. So like my goal is not just to get big enough, but to have enough money to invest back into this that we can actually get that like somewhere close to Joe Rogan level reach, you know? Because like to have any real reach online requires massive reinvestment. And that's just something that man, it's tough. It's tough. It takes a lot. You gotta, like, as a progressive figure, I'm gonna have to be multi-millions by the time that's ever, multi-million subs before that's ever a possibility. Like, Hassan could do it, but he's a bitch, so he won't do it. Puss, thank you for the 20 Australian dollars. I appreciate that. Says, go buy yourself a steak? Dab, I appreciate that. Very kind of you. Thank you. And the $5 from Purpla Jax. Thank you for the $5 dues. Says, here's half an egg. Thanks, Biden. True. Here's half a carton of eggs. But unironically. No, it's not Biden's fault. But yeah, groceries are expensive, to be fair. They are really expensive. It's actually crazy that, like, I only experienced a couple years of life as an adult before the economy crashed. That's probably a big part of it, is that the economy crashed as my channel has grown. And so, to be fair, maybe if we hadn't gotten, like, 4 years of Trump economic policy and the terrible handling of COVID and the big economic crash, maybe it would be, like, way more comfortable. But, I don't know. Most of my adult life, Trump's horrible economy has been the state of things. So I don't really know much. I don't remember much of what things were like going to the grocery store and things not being overpriced. My whole adult life, for the most part, has been in a recession. So that's probably part of it, too. We grew up in a recession, and we became adults in a recession. That's just how it is. We're the generation who didn't get to have expensive things as a kid because our parents were too broke from the 2008 recession. And then we're also the generation that doesn't get to have nice things because we're too broke from the 2019 recession. Awesome, dude. Let's go. That will never happen because you aren't peddling hate. Listen, I just hope that if I can work myself to the bone enough, it can happen. I have not had a relationship romantically since Lonnie because I have needed to dedicate so much time and energy to the channel just to get to 100K at the rate that we have. But I'm hoping, because like I would say like 80% of my life's effort and attention is on the channel. If I can maintain that for like a decade, I think we can reach that point. Like, I think we can. I think if I continue to have my life like it has for the last 5 years entirely revolve around content creation for like, you know, for the next like 10 years, I think I can get to like 1 million subs or millions plus subs and we can grow this into something huge. I think we can. Should California be voted to be independent when midterms happen? I don't know, I doubt it. Grind set, honestly motivational, like I mean I mean that not even sarcastically. Yeah, dude. Like I hope you guys know, for the last 5 years, I've breathed and shit YouTube and content creation. So it takes a lot of dedication. Sometimes it's luck. I think I've probably had worse luck than most, considering I've seen a lot of people go viral and get millions of subs off of like a few videos. I'd say that's like peak luck. I'd say I'm probably towards the lower end, because, you know, it's taken thousands of videos uploaded to get to 100,000, or not, yeah, 100,000 subs, which is a pretty slow rate. Like I hit it, and that's success, but it's a pretty slow rate. It's very clear that I gotta put in like a lot more. Like, it's going to take a lot more videos to equal a given amount of gained, like, subs than the average channel. And that's fine. That's just the situation. I think that's more of a my channel thing. I think it's just sort of a RNG, bad rolls. My MCSMP is possibly needing to switch back to paper because Geyser is being shitty right now. Yeah, Paper Spigot is much more stable and established. I would recommend you use Paper Spigot for now. Geyser's new. You should wait probably a few months. I was born in 1975, and the United States economy has never been good for longer than a couple years. That's true. The economy just crashes sometimes, and it's not even the fault of the person in charge. That is, like, there are occasional, like, massive spikes in inflation and big economic crashes that happen globally that the president has no control over, and they just have to try and mitigate. And the American people will never understand that. We'll always see an inaccurate view of the economic policy of Dems and Republicans because the American people will never have the economic education necessary, or nor will they seek the knowledge, actively so, to find out, like, oh shit, the president isn't at fault for, like, an entire worldwide rise in inflation? Damn. Something about Americans literally forgetting how terrible Republican rule is after a Democrat term. It's just, Dems want change, dude. Dems want change. Or not Dems, like, the people want change. And so, like, every election they want change. Whether it be from the Dems or from the Republicans, they want change. Part of the American culture is no matter how good things are always bad. You must complain about everything, and you can never be happy with the status quo no matter how good things get. I know that sounds crazy, but that is part of the American, like, idea. Like, you can never be like, you know what? Government's doing a good job. Unless you're part of the cult of Trump, I guess. But for the most part, Americans, they always have to view things as being run poorly. That's my dad perfectly described. Yep, the government's the fault for everything. No reason to look deep into what's causing those problems, but yeah. Like, Trump's presidency isn't even that long ago, but people vote like he wasn't going to do everything we said he was going to do. Well, we'll just have to see whether or not the American people were actually in favor of what Trump ran on. Because it's possible that the American people heard what they heard us say, Trump's going to do this and that, and they said, yeah, good. A lot of Trump supporters now say, yeah, good. They've dropped the mask. So it's just a time to find out whether the American people voted for Trump because they were behind what he stood for. Like, they liked what he stood for. They're okay with it. We'll have to find out whether they thought he wasn't and they just thought the Dems were being crazy, or if they knew he was going to do that and voted for him anyway. Delancer, thank you for the $5 donation. I really appreciate that. Very kind of you. It says, from economists and financial experts, Trump tariffs or mass deportation alone will cause either a global recession to a global depression if both are done. Yep. I mean, it's just a matter of who gets the blame. How long will the impacts be delayed? There's so many factors you guys have to consider, because the American people are vibes-based. The American people could be paying twice as much for groceries right now, but if the vibes are better somehow, they'll vote for more of that. Trump could even try to claim that the tariffs causing prices to rise is just companies were trying to retaliate against him for, being hard on big businesses and pro-American. He would go full communist with his rhetoric again and be like, you know, I'm cracking down on the big businesses. I'm so pro-American. They're raising the prices in retaliation. They're trying to make me look bad. They're trying to make me look bad. And the American people will go, yeah, Trump, they are trying to make you look bad. Bring it on. Bring on the higher prices. We're voting Trump again. We're not letting these companies convince us Trump is bad. We're not going to let them fool us. They would do that. They would do that, to be fair. Anyway. Alrighty. I'm going to go upstairs and grab my shake after this next segment. But first, Is it, like, impossible to find any pages of this fucking thing? I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna crash out, guys. It's happening. I'm crashing out. It's finally happening. Tell me it's possible to zoom in on that image enough to make it legible. Yes! Okay. Cool. Alright. Alright, guys. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Well, guys, we gotta talk about Kash Patel. Donald Trump's pick for FBI director when he takes office. If you don't know, this guy is, like, there's never been a man with Trump's dick deeper down his throat. And I know, you might be saying, but Elon, no. This guy, if Trump told this guy to take off his clothes and they're fucking right now and then, he would do it. He would be like, yes, sir, and take his clothes off and bend over and spread those cheeks for Donald Trump to go to town. I am not joking. He would do that shit. And if you guys don't believe me, well, obviously he's come out and said that as director of the FBI will be pursuing anyone in the media who speaks out against Trump. Just overtly. He just outright said, and yeah, if you think that if you're in the media and you're scared that we're going to come after you when we're in power, then you should be, because we are. He outright said that after the announcement of his appointment. I believe those were word for word what he said. Like, you should be scared if you're part of the media and afraid that we're going to crack down on people criticizing Trump. So yeah. Apparently, he's going to try to make it illegal to criticize Trump during Trump's presidency, or maybe even permanently. So that's pretty wild. Yeah, he looks absolutely fucking high here, by the way. Yeah, look at his eyes. Holy shit. Anyway, if you're wondering how deep down his throat Trump's dick is, well, let me show you. He wrote this. This is a real book for children that he wrote and was illustrated by Laura Vincent. It's called The Plot Against the King. And it is a children's book made by our future FBI director about Trump being the king and how being against Trump is like literally plotting regicide because they consider him king-like. Wow, this is not subtle at all. I like their Hillary Clinton here. So this is their book retelling their perception of the events of the 2016 election from the perspective of, you know, like Trump being the king, the literal king. This is so fucking cringe. I need you to understand there's nothing about this on the surface that looks bad to Republicans at all. This is in fact how they see the story. And then he even made a sequel, The Plot Against the King, 2,000 Mules. I'm guessing in reference to the Mueller report. You got Biden here, and this is the sequel they made, written by Kash Patel, art by James Scrawl, with a special message from Dinesh D'Souza. So yeah, these are children's books that the Republican administration are producing to brainwash literal children into seeing Trump as the king. Yeah, you got Sleepy Joe, of course. You got Sleepy Joe. Mueller. You know, this is all about training the kids not to take the Mueller report stuff seriously when they read about it in history class in the future. Anyway, let's read some bits in this book. Let's read it. You know, I will say the art is nice. I actually think the art is pretty nice. Obviously, they do that thing that Ben Garrison does where they make Trump like 100 pounds lighter and they give him like actual leanness where he does not have it. So he like doesn't look like they also took his spray tan away. Like, Are we pretending like Trump isn't orange now? Like, we're gonna pretend like Trump does not lather himself in that, like, New York boomer orange spray tan? Because he does, and we all see it. We're not gonna pretend like this is his skin color now, okay? Like, the sanity washing isn't gonna go so far as to gaslight us into thinking Hillary was more orange than Donald, okay? Like, come on. We get that you gotta rewrite reality, but we can all see he's orange, right? Like, we all accept this is not what he looks like, I hope. Anyway. Overall, though, not this one, though. I think this one looks like shit. But this one, I think the art in this one looks really good. I like this art. I think it looks like an actual children's book. I think it's solid. I think the wizard staff looks pretty cool here, I guess. I'm pretty sure it comes from something, though. I'm pretty certain that's not an original design. But, yeah, also the staff looks different in this one. Why'd they change the staff design? Okay, whatever. Anyway, yeah. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these pages. Afterwards, Cash followed the shifty knight outside. If you didn't have a reason to believe that King Donald was a cheater, why did you say all those nasty things about him to the heralds? We tried our best to find evidence, Keeper Comey, even sent his slugs into the castle to spy on the king, but I don't care that we couldn't find anything, the shifty knight shifted. I just really don't like Donald. I guess Cash Patel's the wizard. Then the shifty knight ran straight to the heralds. Heralds, he said, go forth throughout the kingdom. I have a very good reason to believe that King Donald is a cheater. What is it? The heralds asked. I can't tell you. It's a secret, the shifty knight smiled. Ooh, said the heralds. They all love secrets. We'll tell everyone right away, and so they did. All of the people nodded when they heard. Quote, they must be right. After all, they have loud trumpets and an important secret. And so, everyone agreed that the shifty knight was telling the truth, even though they didn't have any reason to believe him. I love how this is just Trump. Like it's just telling the story of how Trump gains credibility, having the loudest trumpet. A recurring theme you'll see here in this is they constantly claim it was the left and those opposing Trump who had all the platform, all the power, all the voice, all the money, and that it was Trump, this underdog against the world. This is the narrative that Republicans and Trump supporters believe in their hearts is true to this day, even with the richest man in the world backing Trump, buying the biggest social media platform in the world and transforming it into a pro-Trump platform for a year before the election, or 2 years before the election, I should say. It's actually the Dems who did everything that Trump did, actually. In case you're wondering, what they're referring to here is having been the shifty knight trying to, like, go after Trump because they just don't like him. What they're referring to here, I believe, is the Mueller report, right? Like, they're talking about how, like, a bunch of Trump's actual cabinet were literally prosecuted and went to prison because they were found to be illegally working with the Russian government to help Trump get into power. The only thing that was not found was evidence that Trump himself knew of the plot that his cabinet, his campaign, and all of his closest confidants were running. There was just no evidence of his knowledge of what everyone around him was doing to get him elected. That is the scandal that they're claiming was just the shifty knight going after Donald because they didn't like the king. Look at how sad King Donald is. They don't like the king. Here's another page. Once upon a time, in the land of the free, there lived a wizard called Cash, the distinguished discoverer. Cash was known far and wide as the one person who could discover anything about anything. He wrote this book, by the way. He found the holy grape deep in the enchanted forest, and he discovered who had stolen the sleeping princess. I don't even know what to talk about there other than he wrote this, by the way. That's him writing about himself. And then I love this I think this is from the final page of the story where it's supposed to be, I think this is Cash Patel literally in the king's tower. Like having been elevated to best friends with the king is like the moral of the story. Like, be loyal to the king and you will be, if you're a yes man to the king, you will gain power. Like, literally the moral of the story is, as long as you support the king, then you're in the right because one day the king will carry favor to you. So here's the end of the book. Now that you know more of the facts, it's time for you to think carefully and decide what you think of the king. Don't just trust the person with the loudest trumpet. After, of course, learning the facts from someone who supports the quote-unquote king. Moral of the story, learn Russian. That's a good one. Moral of the story, learn Russian. Says the guy with the loudest trumpet. It really just is the I'm being censored. Oh, I forgot. Google sucks now. You can't find anything. Oh, yeah. No, it's gone now. Hey, guys, you know that one image where it's the guy saying I'm being censored and he's got like 1 million mics pointed at him? Guess what? If you search I'm being censored political cartoon, you can scroll for pages and you're not finding that fucking thing. When I say Google is getting worse and it's to serve the Republicans, whether intentionally or no, it is. It's not like a meme. It's not me being a boomer. It has been objectively proven that Google is making things impossible to find now. Man, that meme is now lost media. That's crazy. What a useful meme, too, to become lost media. Just described it, Wingo. Not wasting my breath to repeat myself. You can rewind the stream. That's crazy. That's actually crazy that that meme doesn't exist anymore online. That's actually crazy. Like, what? I'm being censored. Political cartoon. Guy with lots of microphones. Maybe if we get that specific, we can find it. You know what? Even though it still won't come up, and that meme is lost media forever now, we got a parody of it at least. Google knew what I was talking about enough that we could get this anti-meme post about it. The r/anti-meme of it exists. You can still find it in the form of an anti-version of itself. But Google has suppressed and deleted and will not show you any other form. Some people have found links to it, apparently. Yeah, here's a Bread Pains comic. Yeah, the left is cooked if we can't keep a simple Google search alive on Google anymore. Like, we're cooked, dude. We're losing the information war if we can't win Google. Like, if we're getting to the point now where you can't Google things to find info on the right, like, we just lose. Like, that we just completely lose once the internet stops working to find information. Like, we've fully lost the battle at that point. There's no point in even fighting at that juncture, and Google's getting to that point. Yeah. Genuinely scary stuff. The children are being brainwashed by state-sponsored books telling them to worship the King Trump, written by the future FBI director who's promised to go after Trump dissidents in the media. Google is slowly but surely destroying its ability to be of any use to someone who's actually seeking information, like real information, and on the left, that's what you're seeking, and so you're always at a disadvantage as Google gets worse, and the right is at an advantage as Google's algorithm starts to promote AI more and more, because so much conservative propaganda is AI generated. You guys know that, right? Like, Twitter is all AI generated. It's actually insane. Just go to the replies of Elon and look at all the, like, top replies. Click on their accounts. You'll very quickly realize this isn't a real person. Look at all their followers. These aren't real people. Look at all their followers. These aren't real people. You'll go down that rabbit hole, trust. Like, a lot of the stuff is already AI-generated propaganda that people are falling for. So it's like, not only are the real people that are controlling this stuff making the like algorithms worse and doing what they can to brainwash, but like the AI has been given full carte blanche to just brainwash people and to dominate the internet. The dead internet theory is real, yeah. Dude, Kash Patel. Genuine name you guys are going to want to remember going into the next term, because this guy might be the one whose name is associated with all the arrests of those that criticize Trump. Hell, I might get arrested for criticizing Trump in Kash Patel's name. Kash Patel will be the reason. But hey, we'll see. We'll see whether or not you're allowed to criticize Trump in the coming 4 years, because according to the new FBI director, that's not going to be allowed. We'll see if the Constitution can protect us, though. We'll see. It would be really funny if Hassan got arrested, and even funnier if he got deported, actually. Yeah, that would be really funny. Even though I'm pretty sure he's, like, born in America, it would be really funny if Trump deported Hassan, especially because he's pro-Palestinian. And Trump has outright promised, if you're pro-Palestinian, you're getting deported. You guys know that, right? Like, it's part of the reason why I'm just like, you know what? Fuck the people who said Genocide Joe. Y'all let the guy get elected who has promised to deport not just Palestinians, but all of you people who are on the streets protesting in favor of the Palestinians. So enjoy wherever the fuck Trump deports you to. You should have voted. Wonder if they'll just arrest anyone who voted for Kamala? That would be half the country. That would be half the country. It would be pretty extreme. Yeah, I feel like we gotta find out in the coming years whether or not the Americans who voted for Trump consider his worst aspects features or flaws. That's a good way of putting it. Do they consider those things bugs or features of Donald Trump that they voted for him on? The term Genocide Joe is cringe nowadays. I really do think that, like, I want, like, a web crawler that can find out if anyone on the online left has ever said Genocide Joe, unironically, you know? Just so I can instantly know never to take them seriously. Yeah. Pretty much the best red flag you can use to figure out if someone is bad in the online left, I would say, is whether or not they were hypercritical of Joe Biden, I would say. And then Kamala Harris, when she was obviously running against Trump as well. We'll have to find out. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this segment, please consider leaving a like and a comment. Likes and comments, whether you're watching live or after the fact when this goes up as its own video, are one of the best ways to boost my content in the algorithm and help to maybe fight back against the insane information war the right has been waging against us, and the American people, for a matter of fact. Subscribe to the bell icon if you haven't already, so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the channel. Follow my social medias linked down below, especially my Discord and my Blue Sky if you haven't already. And of course, if you haven't, and you want to, and you feel like it, and you want to help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buying merch through the Streamlabs link down below in the description. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you all so much for watching, as always, and have a good one. Nice. Feel like that was a good segment. What do y'all think? Good seggy? Heck yeah. Biden should make us all default on our student loans, call it a federal crime, then pardon us all. That would go, like, blanket pardon all of us. That would go crazy. That would actually go crazy. That would be great. Anyway, really quick chat. Before we get on to the next topic, I'm gonna go use the restroom and grab my mass gainer shake from the fridge. So I will be right back, everybody. Don't go anywhere. BRB, stay tuned. All right. Thank you for your patience, chat. I have returned with my delicious Mass Gainer milkshake. It helps. These things aren't just healthy, they're really good. They taste really fucking good. Like, it just tastes like a milkshake. Like, there's no, like, best way to put it is, like, healthy taste to it. That is to say, like, bad part, or, like, meh part of it. It just tastes really chocolatey and really sweet. It's a chocolate milkshake, and it tastes great, and it's healthy as fuck. At least for me. If you were overweight, you would not want to drink this. It would not be healthy for you. But for me, who is trying to gain weight, very good for me. All right. Let me bring up the next topic, huh? Dude. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Alright, everybody. Man, this is the news of the day, huh? Well, the CEO of Unitedhealthcare was gunned down in Manhattan, in New York City. Caught on video, by the way. I watched the video. A guy just walks up with a pistol. It's a grainy video. It looks like a pistol to me, especially the way he's manipulating it. Looks like it probably has a suppressor on it too. He walks up to the guy. He just puts the gun to the back of his head, blows the dude's brains out, chambers another round. He like turns the gun, pulls the slide back, chambers another round. I don't know what he was shooting that he needed to do that. The way he was fucking with it, it looked like it jammed on him. Chambers another round. Looks like he fired again into the guy. I think he shot him twice based on the video. I don't see any other reason why he chambered another round so deliberately with the slide pullback and everything. So I think he shot, killed the guy, gun jammed, chambered another round manually, or it was a pistol that needed the round to be chambered with a slide pull so it wouldn't be semi-auto, whatever he used, if that was the case. And then shot him again. That's the best as I could tell from the video. I'm sure CNN here is going to break it down better. But I actually don't know a ton about this situation or what's known, because I've just seen the video of his assassination. That's it. And it's the big news of the day, so I'm here to find out what the fuck is going on with you guys. Like, I'm here, right here with you. This is today's big news. I don't know what's going on. Bolt-action pistol? No, it just seemed like he was pulling the slide back and chambering another round.
This does not appear to be a random act of violence. The victim was in New York City.
Apparently this guy, let's just say, no one is surprised this guy had people wanting to kill him. Apparently the suppressor may have messed with it, or using subsonics may have. Maybe. I wonder, can I find a frame of the CEO assassination video? I'm not going to show it on screen, or at least nothing that can't be shown on screen. I just want to show the gun, or see the gun. Yeah, it's just the way he holds it and the way he manipulates it. It looks like he's holding a pistol that has this, like, a long-ass suppressor on it. Like, he's holding it like a pistol. He turns it to the side and pulls the slide back like a pistol. That's the best I could get. It's a really blurry video. It's a really blurry video. That's the best I can tell you. He was casting the shells Is it a shotgun? It could be a shotgun. Like something short that he felony sawed the barrel off of based on its length. It could be a double barrel that he was holding out in front of him like a pistol to ensure he didn't miss. I mean, if you hit someone up close in the head with that, you will not miss. Yeah, I don't even know what it could be, but I would guess on probably a subsonic semi-auto pistol that jammed and forced him to chamber a round manually with a slide pull. That'd be my guess, but listen, I don't want to speculate too much because this is breaking news, and I'm not the biggest gun expert in the world. I've just, fucked around with a fair share of guns, and I like them, and I'm a bit of an enthusiast, but that's the best I could tell. I don't know if there are any forensic things coming out right now, but yeah.
Speak at an investor conference, it appears the suspect was lying in wait for several minutes. And as the victim was walking to the conference hotel, the suspect approached from behind and fired several rounds, striking the victim at least once in the back.
Oh shit, hold on. I'm curious about this. I want to hear this shit.
The victim was walking to the conference hotel. The suspect approached from behind and fired several rounds.
Okay, so I was right. I was right about the multiple shots fired in the video. This is a very blurry video, by the way, guys. It's hard to see the intricacies of what gun it is and what he's doing with it. I think I was right. I think it's a pistol. I think he fired a shot in the head and then turned the gun sideways in order to do a, his shooting hand and my shooting hand are the same, right hand. Although my camera's flipped, so this looks like my left hand to you guys. But right hand is my shooting hand, so what he did is he turned it sideways, took his left hand, grabbed the top of the gun like this, pulled the slide back and let it go to chamber another round, and then righted the gun back up again, put his hand on, and fired another shot. That's what it looks like in the video.
Striking the victim at least once in the back and at least once in the right calf. Many people passed the suspect, but he appeared to wait.
In the video, it looks like he's leveling that thing right up to the back of his head. Like some Hitman mission level shit.
For his intended target. The suspect fled, first on foot, then on an e-bike, and was last seen in Central Park on Center Drive early this morning.
The shooter's still out there. They're still trying to find the guy.
The victim was removed to Roosevelt Hospital, where he was pronounced. We've been in touch with his family, his friends, and his colleagues, and they are very much in our thoughts and prayers at this hour. The full investigative efforts of the New York City Police Department are well underway, and we will not rest until we identify and apprehend the shooter in this case. The women and men of the NYPD take enormous pride in the work that they do each day and each night to drive down crime and violence in our city. Right now, we are asking the public for your help. If you have any information about this case, call Crime Stoppers at 800-577-TIPS. We have increased the reward in this case to $10,000.
Like, this CEO is a massive piece of shit, so I'm certainly not crying over it. I don't think people should go out and murder people. So obviously, I'm not, like, in favor of the dude. But I'm not, like, crying over it or like, oh, man, I hope they get him. I'm mostly like, man, I hope they find out what gun he used. I'm mostly like, man, now I'm so invested in finding out what the fuck he used here. I want to know if I was right. I want to know what it was, if I was on the money with my identification in that blurry-ass video.
I want to be clear. At this time, every indication is that this was a premeditated, pre-planned, targeted attack. Millions of people will be enjoying the tree lighting.
I'm not gonna lie. We need to be upping the bounties on catching criminals like this. $10,000? What is it, the fucking 1800s? Alright? Like, this could be wet work to find this guy, for all you know. Like, this could be something that gets you killed to go out and find this guy. I need a bigger incentive than $10,000, bro. Like, it's gotta be 100K or more. Like, adjust for inflation, government. Like, you wonder why the bounty hunting business is dead compared to the 1800s. It's because that shit never adjusted for inflation. You gotta pay out big. Xander Hall murder is still legal. The two oldest crimes in written history is theft and murder. Yeah. I mean, obviously, this is eventually, if not immediately, going to get turned into like an anti-gun thing. We don't even know if this guy legally acquired the gun. In fact, this is New York City, so I think him having it was already a crime. But I'm sure it'll be turned into a thing about how we need to ban guns even more, despite the fact that New York's anti-gun laws didn't stop this guy from having a gun already, illegally. I'm pretty sure you're just not allowed to have a gun in New York City, right? Like, it's just straight up not allowed at all. Like, this guy just wasn't allowed to have this even if he committed no crimes with it. I'm pretty sure that's the case. He must have gotten this thing illegally.
Tonight, among other holiday events.
We're taking it from
and the
out-of-state.
NYPD will be out there with
No handguns in NYC. So yeah, this thing would not be allowed in NYC, like I said.
them, keeping them safe. For some preliminary details about today's tragic incident, I pass it over to our Chief of Detectives, Chief Joe Kenny.
When you have a concealed carry permit, you tend to have a pretty good idea of what states you can and can't have a gun in. My biggest fear is like somehow waking up in a park somewhere in New Jersey and I have my gun on me for some reason. It's like the gun owner's equivalent of those nightmares where you go to school and you have to do a presentation and all of a sudden you're naked. Like the gun owner equivalent of that is the nightmare you wake up inexplicably in a park in New Jersey and you have your gun on you. Nightmare scenario.
Thank you, Commissioner. The information I'm about to give you is preliminary as our investigation is continuing. This morning at 6:40.
Pretty sure it's a Saturday Night Special clone of a Glock with a 3D printed suppressor. Okay, several things for Fulcrum Ezio. The video's way too blurry to tell anything that specific. The most I was willing to say is handgun, maybe or maybe not semi-auto because the fact he had to manually chamber around on camera. Two, the Saturday Night Special is a snub-nose revolver. A 38 Special snub-nose revolver is what you're thinking of, the Saturday Night Special. Nothing even close to the function or build or whatnot of a Glock. I mean, it's a cheap knockoff, but Glocks and the Saturday Night Special are nothing alike. So maybe you're thinking of a Glock that shoots 38 Special? Maybe that's what you're thinking of. And then, as for the 3D printed suppressor, maybe like it could be a 3D printed suppressor. If I were to take a wild guess at what he was shooting, probably a Glock with a 3D printed suppressor. I don't think you're wrong there, but I wouldn't hazard to guess like the caliber that was being shot. Like you'd probably be smart to guess 9mm because like you throw it's like a statistics thing. It was probably a gun that shoots 9mm if it's a handgun, especially if you could 3D print a easily find a file to 3D print a suppressor to put on it. It's probably a Glock, to be honest, because you can just find tons of easy like things to add on to Glocks. You can find the files online for 3D printing very easy for Glock attachments because it's so bog standard. Zan, are you a fellow gun guy? Yes, I am very much a lefty gun guy, yeah. I wish YouTube would let me show you guys my guns. I wish I didn't risk a ban by bringing my guns out. But in videos, I can show you guys my guns. On streams, it's not allowed. Because YouTube doesn't want to risk me, like, shooting myself on live stream, I guess. But in a video, I guess you have to not be shot to upload the video, so they don't mind guns in videos. But on a live format, for understandable reasons, I can't show you guys my guns. But I've got a Glock 19 right there, just off camera, right in reach, just in case something goes down, because, like, I want to be able to grab it at a moment's notice. I've got 2 rifles upstairs, and, yeah, it's pretty nice. My rifles are just, like, they're not, auto, though, sadly. They're not, semi-auto. They're, I've got, like, a little, I think it's a, what's the caliber called? It's a pellet gun. It's an air gun, and it's for, like, if I ever want to go, like, varmint hunting or something, or I want to, like, go camping and shoot a squirrel and cook it up. Yeah, I think it's 177 maybe, or it might be it's not 22 LR. It's either 177 like Canada's Joel said, or it's something close. Yeah, I think Canada's Joel's right. I haven't looked at the box in a while, and I haven't used it in a long time, so I don't remember. But I'll have to look. I could probably grab the pellets from upstairs and tell you, but yeah, I think you're right, Canada's Joel and the Lancer. Yeah. I want to get a Mosin. Since you can't get semi-auto rifles in my state, I figure I might as well lean heavily in the future into getting, like, bolt-action rifles, but I'm not buying any guns or gun stuff anytime soon. That shit's expensive, but when I can, I want to get a fucking Mosin, dude. Just a powerful-ass, chambered in 7.62, Mosin Nagant that booms when I fire the fucker. I fired a Mosin a few times. I really like it.
46 a.m., patrol officers from Midtown North Precinct responded to a 911 call of a person shot in front of the Hilton Hotel located at 1335 Avenue of the Americas. This is between West 53rd Street and West.
Have I ever been robbed? Nope. And I almost certainly never will be, considering I always got that thing on me.
54th Street. At 6:48 a.m., officers arrive and find the victim, Brian R. Thompson, a 50-year-old male, on the sidewalk in front of the Hilton with gunshot wounds to his back and leg. Mr. Thompson was removed by EMS to Roosevelt Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 7:12 a.m. Mr. Thompson is the CEO of Unitedhealthcare and resides in Minnesota. Detectives from Night Watch, Midtown North Detective Squad, and Manhattan South Homicide responded to the scene and began their investigation. What we know is that the shooter arrived at the location on foot about 5 minutes prior to the victim's arrival. He stands alongside the building line as numerous other people and pedestrians pass him by. From video, we see at 6:44 a.m., the victim is walking alone towards the Hilton after exiting his hotel across the street. We believe the victim was headed to the Hilton Hotel to attend the United Health Group Investors Conference that was scheduled to start at 8 a.m. The shooter appears to be a light-skinned male. He's wearing a light brown or cream-colored jacket, a black face mask, black and white sneakers, and a very distinctive gray backpack.
He's wearing a black jacket. It's just the light reflecting off that makes it look gray or brown. I guarantee you that's he's in all black. He might have dark blue denims on, but based off of the image, to me, that looks like a matte black hoodie that's just reflecting a lot of light off of it in the image. And you can see in the dark it goes full shadow, which is the intent of wearing matte black when you're going to commit a crime, right? Is that, you know, your silhouette is just a shadow. So yeah, I think he's wearing pretty much all black, actually, and has a white bag on. Or a light gray bag. Just doing my part. Hope the cops watch my stream. I'm very good at this kind of thing. I'm like L, alright? I'm like L. I see things that no one else does.
Shooter steps onto the sidewalk from behind the car. He ignores numerous other pedestrians, approaches the victim from behind, and shoots him in the back.
Hold on, let me do my best L impression here. Hold on. Alright, we're not doing the bit.
The shooter then walks toward the victim and continues to shoot. It appears that the gun malfunctions as he clears the jam and begins to fire again. The shooter then flees on foot northbound into an alleyway.
Hold on, we gotta sit like L, so we can go full deductionist here. We gotta do the
between
the
54th Street and 55th Street. Once at West 55th Street, the shooter continues to walk westbound on Avenue of the Americas, where he gets onto an electric e-city bike and rides northbound on the Avenue of Americas towards Central Park, where at 6:48 a.m. we have the shooter riding this bike into Central Park at Center Drive. At the scene, we recover 3 live 9mm rounds and 3 discharged 9mm.
What was that, chat? It appears I was right. It was only logical to assume it would be a 9mm round, considering that the vast majority of handguns carried by Americans fire 9mm. Only basic deduction there. I was right. 9mm. I told you. Did I not say it was probably 9mm? If I were to take a guess? Dude, I'm telling you.
Shell casings. The motive for this murder currently is unknown, but based on the evidence we have so far, it does appear that the victim was specifically targeted. But at this point, we do not know why. This does not appear to be a random act of violence. We are seeking information from the public to help identify the shooter. As the Commissioner said, we have upped the reward up to $10,000 for information. You're urged to contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-TIPS. All information will be kept anonymous. Thank you very much.
All right, well, we're going to open up to a couple of questions. We're going to start off with Shimon, CNN.
So it's about an hour and
Nice try,
20
Thanatos.
minutes before the start of the conference. Is there any indication that he was going to meet someone? Because it's pretty early. Is he on his way to meet someone there at the conference?
He leaves the hotel dressed like he's going to be attending the conference. We're working with his co-workers and other people that he planned on attending the conference with to get that information. But as of right now, he's in charge of the conference, so we believe he was getting there to help set up.
Okay, and then just the city bike, if I may. Do we know where that city bike is now? Does he dock it or does he keep riding it?
We're still tracking video. The last we see with him on that bike is in Central Park.
Is there a way to track that bike? Through
There are GPSs on those bikes. We'll be working with the company.
All right, we're going to move over. We're going to go NJ Berkey.
Thank you. Chief, were any words exchanged? If so, what were the words?
What an American, or not American, fucking New Yorker man. We'll tell you more when we know. He's just very thick accent and very, just wants to go. He just wants to get this over with. He's so New York. I had my favorite teacher of all time was my middle school geography teacher. His name was Mr. McManus. Shout out to Mr. McManus. I hope he is, frankly, I hope he's alive. He was kind of old, but I feel like he's still around. But yeah, he was a big-time New Yorker, right? He used to do Coca-Cola truck delivery when he was younger. He would deliver the Coca-Cola, and he would drive the truck around. And apparently he would have to collect the cash from the vending machines, and so he'd get robbed. And he had to carry a gun on him. It was some real crazy shit back in the 80s in New York. He would always tell us those stories, and it was awesome, dude. He was such a cool teacher. He had a cool-ass life.
I'm told the cell phone was recovered in an alleyway on his escape route. Does that appear to be connected to the suspect?
We're working through that cell phone. Obviously, we'll be processing it forensically. And as far as words being exchanged, we do not have audio of the incident. We only have the regular video.
But nothing from witnesses?
Well, there was one witness standing right next to the victim when he was shot. We're still trying to identify.
My point still stands if the found gun is made by some fly-by-night, fourth-rate manufacturer. I'm going to guess he bought the gun. Here's going to be my prediction, okay? If we ever find out what happened and we get the lore about this guy, you guys got to tell me if I was right. I'm going to guess it's a Glock 19. It was based on the size, because I have a Glock 19 and it looks similar in size and build. Here's my prediction. It's a Glock 19. All right. He bought it through a straw purchase. He 3D printed or acquired a 3D printed suppressor, because those are illegal. And those are my predictions. I think it's a Glock 19. All right, I'm going to say, let's not specify Glock 19. I'm going to say it's a Glock, right? It's a mid-sized Glock. I'll be a little specific. It's a mid-sized Glock. I think it's a real one that was made by the Austrian company and manufactured by the Austrian company, Glock. But I think he bought it illegally. I think straw purchases are illegal now, right? Didn't Biden close that loophole? Maybe it's just outside of... Yeah, no, I think Biden fully closed that, right? Didn't he ban straw purchases? Did Biden do that? I know Biden closed the gun show loophole, but did that make it so you have to get registered as an FFL to sell guns now? Or to sell a gun? Unless it's like a private transfer with no money involved? Even then, I'm not 100% sure. Biden closed that loophole. I'm not sure how far it goes, though. It's not something I'm interested in, like selling firearms, so I didn't really, I didn't commit a lot of that stuff to memory, to be honest. But, I'm going to guess that he got it through illegal means, but it is a real Glock. I think it's a mid-sized Glock handgun. But I am going to agree with Fulcrum that the suppressor was probably 3D printed. I think it's a 3D printed suppressor, and that because he needed to do a 3D printed suppressor, he picked up a Glock because it'd be easy to find the CAD files or whatever you need to 3D print a Glock suppressor. Because there's just it's like the name, it's the standard it's a named brand, but it's like everybody who likes guns gets a Glock. Everyone's got one.
Identify that victim. Excuse me, that witness.
We're going to go over to Aaron Katersky.
Thank you. Chief, was he checked into the hotel across the street alone? Was he in the city alone? Was he accompanied by anybody? Did he have any known enemies or anyone that you've been able to find so far?
Like I said, we're reaching out to law enforcement in Minnesota, and we're also interviewing his co-workers and family members to see if there have been any specific threats against him in the past. As far as who was he in the hotel with, we're doing a search warrant in his hotel room right now. That might lead us, give us some more information.
All right, we're going to go over to Dean Moses.
A couple of questions. One, based on the surveillance you've seen of this individual, do you feel like he's professional? You mentioned that he did a good spell. Do you feel like this was a professional individual who
It's not just that, H. Blake, it's also that they're cheap as fuck. Glocks are really cheap handguns, and they're good for their price. $350 is a pretty standard price you can get a Glock like handgun for, $350 to $400, like a mid-size Glock handgun. And I know that sounds expensive, but like that's generally like $250 is like the floor for gun buys. Like I don't think there are guns cheaper than $250 that you can legally and normally purchase. Like a cheap shotgun is like, man, maybe $150. I think before, maybe it could be the economy fucking things up. I think in a good economy, prior to the insane inflation we experienced the last few years, you could probably get yourself a nice shotgun, like a bad shotgun, a shitty, cheap, used shotgun for $150, $125 maybe. Shotguns can get cheap, dude. They're cheap to make, they're cheap to fix, they're cheap to maintain, they're cheap to shoot. But if you're looking at handguns, Glock is like the decent quality, cheap standard for the most part. I pounded down like $1,500 for a Beretta M9A4. Berettas are nice, dude. I considered getting a Beretta M9 as my first gun instead of the Glock. I went to my local range, and my local range has got the best fucking deals, dude. Not only do they have like an arsenal, but you pay $15 and pick whatever fucking gun you want from the arsenal, come back, switch guns out as much as you want throughout the day. You paid for a mission all day. You get there early in the morning and pay your $15, you've got full pick of however many guns are available to switch out and pick between. The only thing is you have to pay for the ammo. Or you have to bring unopened boxes of ammo that they approve at their range, so no steel core, no incendiary, no tracers, nothing like that. And then from there, like, you can just buy a few boxes of ammo, and your day is set, dude. You just, whenever you get bored of a gun, pack it up in the case, make sure it's empty, and you put the chamber flag in, and you just take it back up to the front desk and say, I want to shoot the AR-15 now. And then they hand you the AR-15 in a case, and you go back to your lane, and you get back to shooting. It's so fun. I love my local range. They got some good fucking deals, I'm not gonna lie. For Seattle, a place where everything is overpriced, it's one of the best deals in regards to, like, prices for shooting guns I've ever seen. The only downside is it's an indoor range. That's the only downside. The upside of it being an indoor range is I can shoot even on the rainiest, most Seattle days at that range, but it also means it's an indoor range. And if you shoot guns and you've been to indoor ranges, I don't even have to tell you why that sucks. That there's health problems that can be associated with shooting at indoor ranges because there's only so much ventilation that inside can have compared to outside. So, constant guns firing. There's a lot of gunpowder dust in the air. There's no doubt some lead particles in the air. It's probably not good for you to be shooting guns inside too much or be around people inside shooting guns too much. And it reverberates and echoes. The sound can't go anywhere. It's just trapped in there. So, yeah, I have, like, really good ear pro, so that's not a problem for me. But I feel it when a dude in the lane next to me decides he's going to shoot his Benelli. Like, bro decides he's going to shoot his shotgun at the indoor range, and it's like, guess I'm practicing not flinching today. Like, I'm I don't flinch when the guns go off, but when this thing goes off in the lane next to me, I might, and I'm gonna be practicing not doing that today, I guess. Man, I love how this segment turned into a complete gun stun lock segment. I hope you like it. Also, is Heavy Gretel in chat? Because I've seen multiple people say hi to her, but I don't see her in chat. Is the site bugging out? Well, in case there's just a bug and I can't see you. Hi, Heavy Gretel. Good to see you.
I'll answer the part about whether or not he's a professional. That, you know, we have no way of knowing that. From watching the video, it does seem that he's proficient in the use of firearms, as he was able to clear the malfunctions pretty quickly. But as far as the tree lighting, I'll leave that to Chief Madrick.
Yes. Good morning, Dean. Just really quick, this incident will not affect the tree lighting. The tree lighting is slated to start at 7 p.m.
Don't worry, guys. We're still lighting the Christmas tree, even though a guy got fucking slaughtered on the street. That's a very New York moment, though. Let's be real. That's very New York.
The actual lighting of the tree will be close to 10 o'clock, actually 9:55 p.m. We will have a massive police presence out there around Rockefeller Center from 52nd Street all the way down to 47th Street. We will have plainclothes out there, a plainclothes detail out there. We will have our CRC assets, our Strategic Response Group assets. We will have our Intel Division out there. A lot of assets out there to make sure people can come out and have a good time. And we're going to have additional police officers in the subways as well, so people can take mass transit to make it easier to travel into the city and enjoy the trip.
Honestly, though guns themselves aren't really bad per se, I'm one of those that just thinks we should have to go through proper training to own them. Me too. Yeah, me too. Like, I'm not in favor of banning guns of any kind, shape, or form. I'm in favor of restricting them. I think that, man, every lawful gun owner, Hypers in chat if you're a lawful gun owner, I feel like I am speaking for you right now when I say this. When a shooting happens, we cross our fingers and we hope to God the gun was obtained illegally. And usually it is. And the vast majority of mass shootings that happen in America, of which there are, I think, about 4,000 a year in America, which sounds crazy, but keep in mind the vast majority of those are people, it's like 2 people wounded, 1 killed. If more than 2 people get shot, it's a mass shooting. So 4,000 times a year, more than 2 people get shot in America. Should probably be a more accurate way to describe it, but we count more than 2 people shot, period, as a mass shooting. And so with 4,000 mass shootings per year, the majority of them are conducted with illegally obtained firearms. And so when you look at that, you're like, oh shit, so we got a big gun problem in America, but the majority of the guns being used to do the problem are not guns that are obtained through, like, it being too easy to get them through legal means. It's actually quite hard to get them through legal means. There are waiting periods. You gotta do background checks, and you gotta sign paperwork, and you take, like, you get fingerprinted. Like, to get your concealed carry permit, I had to go to the police department, my local PD, sit in the waiting room, and wait for them to call me into the back room, where they take you to the same room where they fingerprint people that have just been brought in for, like they just got arrested. They take you to the same room, and they fingerprint you, and it's a little scary because you're like, is this like entrapment? Are they going to put me in a jail cell? Are they going to make a mistake and think I'm here to get arrested and not get my CCW? And so basically, or concealed weapons permit, CWP or whatever the term is. And so I get my fingerprints done, and, like, it's the whole process to, like, legally carry a firearm, to get a firearm. Like, it's pretty hard. And so when I'm in favor of it being even harder, as long as it's not impossible, as long as you keep your nose clean and you are willing to pay or go through these process, maybe not pay, because I feel like we do not want to create a class distinction between who has and doesn't have guns. I don't think all the rich people should have the guns and all the poor people should be disarmed. That seems bad to me for obvious reasons. So I think that, like, non-financial related barriers of entry to gun ownership are fine. My problem is when they're like, guess what? In the state of Washington now, no matter what, you can never own legally a semi-auto rifle. Owning it is a felony now. It's like, owning it is a felony. It was already a felony to go do a crime with it. So why does it need to be a felony to own it now and to do nothing wrong? Like, cop sees you with it at the range having fun. You're a felon now. Your life is over. Like, good luck. Good luck at living in America with a criminal record. Like, why are people in favor of that type of gun control and not just making it infinitely more safe and difficult for people to obtain firearms legally? No, it isn't. Owning it before the law is grandfathered. Same with the magazines. The thing about that, Jaina Bledsoe, is it's the same as being out on a boat during spring break. There are cops that show up to the ranges, and if you have an AR-15, for example, there are cases in which they might talk to you about it. They might want to see some, like, paperwork or ask you for it. I don't think they have the right to demand it of you because they don't have any probable cause to suspect a crime. Because technically you could still have that and it not be a crime. So I don't think you have to provide them with what they ask for. But cops do go to ranges, especially in Washington, and they question and they walk up to and they try to catch people up who have guns that could maybe be illegal to own if they're not grandfathered in. They try to get them to say something incriminating. It happens. It's real. Yeah, having a receipt on hand is handy for sure. I don't think you even need to provide it, Jaina Bledsoe, but it is good to have, yeah. If I had a gun like that was like middle of the road, yeah. Well, another thing is the magazine limits in Washington too. My Glock 19 came with a 15-round magazine, which is the standard, but I had to leave those magazines, literally like throw them away. I threw the magazines that came with my gun away in the trash. Because where I bought the gun when I was Floridian, but when I moved, I had to go to a state where they don't allow 15-round magazines. They're illegal, so I had to throw my 15-round mags that came with my gun into the trash, because where else am I gonna fucking put them, you know? Am I gonna donate them to charity? So I threw them the fuck away, and broke them in half and threw them away. They're just magazines, but still. I figured it would be best to break them, just in case someone finds it and decides to use it for a crime. Broke the magazines, threw them away, moved to Seattle, bought my new magazine, and my new magazines, which are 10-rounders, and now we good. Yeah, you definitely want to have the receipt on you. I've got all of the purchase info for it, like, in the case, which is probably the smartest thing to do. Because if I ever end up in trouble with, like, not in trouble, but, like, just getting stopped by a cop or something about it at the range, I just want to be able to say, yeah, man, listen, I got the receipt for it in my case here. Like, I bought it at a Rural King. Here it is. My name's on it and everything.
This is a terrible event, but we're going to go on, and people are going to enjoy the tree lighting tonight.
All right, we're going to move on to Marshall Kramer.
I wonder if you could tell me, the mayor said that there was evidence recovered at the scene that would indicate that this was not a random event. I wonder if you could tell me what that evidence was. And by looking at the gun, it appears that there's a silencer on the gun. Was there a silencer on the gun?
Suppressor, but you're doing your best, man.
And does this indicate not only that it was premeditated, but this is somebody who knew his way around guns and might have...
This was a planned assassination, very obviously.
...have been a professional.
Once again, we won't know that until we complete our investigation and identify the shooter or recover that firearm. You know, you see a glimpse of the gun in video, so we're not able to make a determination on whether or not a silencer was used on that quick glimpse of video.
It's a long fucking pistol, though. If it's not, like, dude, here's where the grip would be. Most guns would end around here. Maybe. So there's a lot of extra... like, gun sticking out past his hands than there should be. There was definitely a suppressor.
We can't tell from that little glimpse of video. I'm not going to commit to saying that at this time.
Look at
that would be part of our investigation.
And what evidence did you...
There's a cell phone recovered in the alleyway, and once again, we will process that forensically and see if it comes back to this shooting.
So you don't think that the cell phone was part of Brian Thompson's... was on...
Once again, this investigation is less than 5 hours old. That will be part of our investigation.
All right, we're going to move on to Joe Marino, New York Post.
Chief, do we know when Thompson arrived in New York City? My understanding is he was staying close by the Hilton, but not at the Hilton. And has anything in the reverse video canvas indicated that these two individuals crossed paths at all?
As of right now, based on the current video that we do have, it doesn't appear that they crossed paths, and he arrived in New York on Monday.
All right, we're going to take 2 or 3 more. We're going to go Rocco, Daily News.
Chief, did he typically travel with a security detail? And even though it's early, is there anything to indicate that there had been issues with, let's say, a patient who was denied coverage, either back in Minnesota or more recently, someone who lives here?
From speaking to other employees that traveled with him to New York, it doesn't seem that he had a security detail. He left.
You know what this reminds me of? This entire situation? Wendigoon did a really great video about it. It reminds me of the dead man's line story, where that guy who'd been fucked over by I think it was an insurance company, if I'm not mistaken. A guy had been fucked over by an insurance company. He was a real estate guy, if I remember right, and he got fucked over by the company. And for like 5 years, he fought with the company to get some money he was supposed to get or some sort of reimbursement. Never got it, and his life was fucked. So he decided he was going to go and take the CEO of the company hostage in the streets of, I think, Chicago, is I think where this happened. So, or maybe Philadelphia, something like that. He takes a shotgun. He creates this insane contraption, and it goes like this. So he takes a gun. He goes into the building. He takes the son of the CEO hostage, the CFO, because the CEO wasn't in that day. So he goes for the CFO instead. He takes the guy. He puts the shotgun to the back of the guy's neck and wraps around the end of the gun. There's like a rail for attachments on the top of it, and there was like a loop through which you could like loop a wire under. And so he did that. He wrapped it around the guy's neck and then looped the muzzle to the back of the dude's neck. So like there's no way he could turn his head or orient or look down or do anything to create enough like distance between the muzzle and his body to not have it be instant death if the trigger gets pulled. So he is locked into the thing being on the back of his head, like the back of his neck where the base of his skull and spine are. It's a bad spot to get shot, especially by a shotgun. You're done if the gun goes off there. And then the guy who's taking him hostage creates what's called a dead man's line, where his hand is tied to the trigger in such a way where if he gets shot or tackled or grabbed or pulled or manipulated in any way, his hand attached to a string will pull back the trigger because the gun is already tied to the other dude's neck. And not only will the gun not move at all, it'll stay on the guy's neck. If the hostage holder falls or gets knocked over or shot or anything happens, the trigger will get pulled and the gun will go off. And this was I believe, 18-hour public standoff with police as this guy walked the CFO of this insurance company up and down the street threatening to kill him. The cops are just walking next to him with their guns out because this is the first time a big case like a big hostage situation like this had gone down. And the police just didn't know what to do. It's a wild story. This reminds me a lot of that. Highly recommend you check out that Wendigoon video on it. It was really solid.
Left the hotel by himself, was walking, didn't seem like he had any issues at all. So I don't think he did not have a security detail.
And as far as denied coverage, I know that's typically an issue with these major companies. Any reason to believe he had been the subject of a threat?
Once again, we're looking at everything. We're looking at his social media. We are interviewing employees. We are interviewing.
So yeah, the gunman is still out there. We don't know where he is or who he is or what he is. He could be like a fucking tulpa for all we know. My grandfather always... This is the top comment. My grandfather always told me, don't mess with people who have nothing to lose. Based on reports, these insurance companies create a lot of people with nothing to lose when they mistreat people and deny claims that should have been approved. Messing with people's lives. Being a CEO of a healthcare company was a pre-existing condition. Claimed in... This winning comment, I'm giving it a like. Cringe Comedy TV, simply with the comment, being a CEO of a healthcare company was a pre-existing condition. Claim denied. I'll leave it at that. If you enjoyed this segment, then please consider leaving a like and a comment. Likes and comments are by far the best way to support the channel, whether you're watching live or when this goes up as its own video. Forces YouTube to push my content in the algorithm and show it to more people, so I really do appreciate it. It's also totally free, so thank you to everybody who does that. Subscribe and ring the bell icon if you haven't already, so that YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video. And I highly recommend that you follow my social medias, linked down below in the description, including my Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, fan Discord, and my Blue Sky. I'm really getting active on Blue Sky lately. And if you feel like helping me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, oh my god, can't stop burping, then consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buying merch through the Streamlabs link down below in the description. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one. Since you're no longer on a video, where do I roll my WoW character? Oh, if you guys are wondering, if anyone here is like, man, I want to join Zan's WoW guild, then I will go ahead and drop another link in chat to join the Discord server for the guild. We're playing on the Anniversary Classic servers on the Night Slayer PvP server. But if you want more details, if you want to make sure you join the right thing and roll the right character, right faction and everything, join the Discord. And just introduce yourself in the, like, waiting room chat that you'll enter. Just introduce yourself with a few sentences like, hi, I'm blank. Say whether or not you've played WoW before. We're fine if you've never played it before. We're happy to have new people get in and teach them how to play. Just introduce yourself. Hey Zan, I defeated the YouTube algorithm. 6 out of 8 of my recommendations are over a year old. Nice. Okie dokie. Thank you for the $5, Delancer. I really appreciate that. It says handguns, bolt-action rifles, and shotguns cannot be banned in states because of the Second Amendment, where the military and civilians have access to the same exact guns. I don't know if that makes much sense. Because, like, why were they able to ban semi-auto rifles in Washington then? Like, why was that not deemed? Because, like, I'm pretty sure the only reason why it's not deemed unconstitutional when they do that is because all the judges here like that policy. I'm pretty certain if there was any state Supreme Court judges or federal judges in the state, they would be able to veto the state's ban easily, and I know that because they did it in California. California banned semi-auto rifles, like all semi-auto guns, if I'm not mistaken. It might have just been rifles, though. And a judge vetoed it and cited the Constitution, and it was vetoed. It's up to the states. I think it is up to the states to interpret it, but there is also an established precedent that these bans are blatantly unconstitutional, and all it takes is a pro-gun judge to instantly veto it. It's just a matter of who's a judge in a state. One Republican judge, and that ban can go bye-bye. Because it's that easy just to point at the Constitution and say, no, you're not allowed to ban guns? What? No. It's literally explicitly anti-American. Get that out of here. And they rule against it. I'll have to recommend my husband join you. He plays WoW. IDK if he plays Classic, but I'd love to have more left-wing gamer buddies. Might help radicalize him a bit more, lol. Hell yeah, get him in my guild. We're playing Classic WoW. It goes... If he's a WoW player, he probably plays Classic. And if he hasn't played Classic, this is a reason why you should try it out. Alright. Thank you for the $5, Zolancer. Let me update the dono goal really fast. Fact, more people have stayed alive without guns than anywhere near one. Wait, are you the same person making multiple accounts now? Okay. I think that's a dumb lefty instead of a dumb conservative this time around. The reason is the civilian version of semi-auto rifles don't have full auto or burst modes. Yeah, but the civilian versions are banned as well. That's the thing. The civilian versions are banned. The military versions have been banned since like the 80s. But the civilian, outside of certain circumstances, I think you can be like ex-military or ex-police and get them. Maybe, possibly. Or like maybe some were grandfathered in. I don't quite remember because this is way before my time. But the civilian versions are what people have. Like like an AR-15 is a civilian gun. Those are what are getting banned, say in my state. Like they got banned. You can't have an AR-15 anymore in my state unless you got it grandfathered in. But if you buy one or purchase one, it's against the law. It's against the law to possess it if you buy one as well after that date. I honestly, TSW Shadow Wolf, I do 3 just because YouTube hates my channel, dude. If you can get by on 1 upload a day, that's far preferable. I have to do 3 uploads a day because it takes 3 shots at getting a video to do well in the algorithm for YouTube to give my channel a break most days. So 3 uploads a day is partially, you know, obviously you guys get more content, but for the most part, you guys don't know when I upload. YouTube only tells you guys about 1/3 of my uploads when they go out, so I upload 3 times as much to make up for it. I'm telling you guys, in every way you can imagine, it is harder to be a left-wing figure, and I work harder than most other YouTubers to get a fraction of the online traffic and success. I literally upload and stream 3 times as much because YouTube gives me 1/3 of the impressions. So I make it back by doing 3 times the work. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Best way to put it is what I said earlier. It's easier to become a millionaire as a right-wing YouTuber than to become financially stable as a left-wing YouTuber. Dude, I mentioned Blair White was transphobic in my niche and got a ton of backlash for it, so I feel that. Yep, the majority of the largest figures online are right-leaning. And so, like, you can just be like a random apolitical figure, and if you drop that you're left-leaning, it might be a career ender for you before it's ever... like, it'll be a scandal. Yeah, you gotta be careful. I would not let it out that you're progressive if you've got an audience or a platform already in the coming years, or especially around now. The internet is very hostile to anyone on the left. It's wild out there, man. It is. It is indeed. I try to write my video essays like Pillar of Garbage, Lamau. That's smart. He keeps it relatively apolitical, surprisingly. Like, tries not to say too many things that would instantly push away the chuds. Gets them to try to at least watch a few of the arguments. Alright. Let's see. Let's see. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. You know, I want you guys to keep in mind all of the progressive figures in the online left who called Joe Biden, the current incumbent, who, obviously the incumbent party is what was running against Trump, Genocide Joe, or just kept on attacking him virulently. I want you guys to keep in mind, everyone like Hassan, who attacked Biden and the Democrats over the last 4 years, especially during this last election year, I want you to keep their names and what they said and how much they motivated their progressive audiences away from voting Dem this election as I read this story. because I know I've got a lot of trans fans here, and this story is about you guys. The Supreme Court of the United States, conservative majority, appears ready to endorse Tennessee law banning gender-affirming care for minors. The Supreme Court appeared likely to back a divisive Tennessee law that bans gender-affirming care for minors after more than 2 hours of oral arguments on Wednesday, in which the court delved into a culture war battle that has become even more politically fraught since the election. The transgender care case is the most significant matter to come before the Supreme Court this term, and it has become even more extraordinary since former President Donald Trump was elected to a second term, in part on a campaign to end the quote-unquote transgender craziness. More than 110,000 teenagers live in states where restrictions on transgender care exist, according to the Williams Institute of UCLA School of Law. Here are some key takeaways from Wednesday's historic arguments. Roberts and Kavanaugh wary of courts second-guessing legislators. On multiple occasions, Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh, two of the court's most important votes, suggested that the issue of gender-affirming medical treatments for minors should be left to legislature to decide and that the courts shouldn't play a role. Roberts' skepticism towards courts getting involved was a particularly worrying sign for the challengers to the Tennessee ban, as Roberts had previously sided with federal transgender employees in a major 2020 case, finding those employees are covered under the workplace discrimination protections of the Civil Rights Act. This means that even the more moderates on the Supreme Court are saying, let the states decide whether or not gender-affirming care is banned. We're not going to rule on it. We're not going to decide. Alito and other conservatives focus on detransitioners. Several of the court's conservatives appeared heavily focused on so-called detransitioners, individuals who regret receiving gender-affirming treatments earlier in their lives. As they expressed skepticism towards arguments that transgender Americans should receive heightened protection under the law, Justice Samuel Alito in particular was interested in the question of whether transgender status is immutable. Historically, the court has considered immutability to be a key aspect of the characteristics of a group deserving of more protection. So they're going to argue that because detransitioners exist, that being trans is not an immutable trait, unless you can't be bigoted towards trans people. Kavanaugh worried about girls' sports. We're getting this. It's all culture war shit. All the stuff the right has the most cultural support on, too. Like, the vast majority of Americans are opposed to trans people participating in sports, period. Like, not even just participating in the sport of the gender they were assigned at birth. No, the American people at large do not believe trans people should be allowed to partake in sports. At all. It's why the right focuses on that particular topic so much, is it's one of the biggest points in which the American people disagree with trans validity and trans rights. It's like the most strong wedge issue for anti-trans folks. Kavanaugh worried about girls' sports. Kavanaugh repeatedly raised concerns about the impact the court's decision may have on girls' sports, an issue that has already worked its way up the Supreme Court in several cases. Quote, if you prevail here, Kavanaugh pressed U.S. Solicitor General Elizabeth Prelogar, what would that mean for women's and girls' sports in particular? It was notable that Kavanaugh was raising that question. The Trump nominee has discussed his efforts coaching basketball for his daughter's team, one of which even came to his confirmation hearing in 2018. Gorsuch, a key vote in transgender case, remains silent. One of the most notable twists in the hours of speaking was a conservative justice who decided to say nothing at all, Neil Gorsuch. Gorsuch is considered a key vote in the case because he wrote the majority opinion on an unexpected decision 4 years ago in Bostock v. Clayton County that protected transgender employees from discrimination in the workplace. He was cheered by surprised LGBTQ+ advocates on the left and roundly criticized by conservatives, including several of his own colleagues at this bench. So Gorsuch, one of the few to actually, despite being a Republican, fight for the rights of trans people, is staying silent on this. It really does seem like, I'm sorry trans people in my audience if you're American, but like, things are about to get a lot worse. I'm not doomering here, I'm just being very real with you guys. Move to blue states if you're not already in one. Because it's very clear here, the Supreme Court has decided that whether or not you get to have rights is up to your state. The higher courts will not help you. The federal government most certainly will not help you. If you are LGBTQ+ and you live in a red state, you are fully unprotected, and only you can protect yourself. And it's going to be the government that comes after you. So if you think you can protect yourself from a federal and state government that want you dead, then I wish you luck. Good luck, but I recommend you move to a blue state, deep into a collection of blue states, ideally. It blows my mind that these people scream about small government but are fine with the government deciding who we are. They don't believe any of the things they say they believe. They say they're against war, but they say that Zelensky is the one stoking war with Russia as Putin invades. These are not people who have any desire to adhere to truth, okay? Not a bit. Dude.
In just a few hours, the Supreme Court will hear arguments about transgender rights.
It's over a Tennessee law that bans gender-affirming care for minors. Eyewitness News reporter Jaysha Patel joins us in studio with those details. Jaysha.
John Rachel, Tennessee and 25 other states have passed bans on some gender-affirming medical treatments for minors. The Supreme Court is asked to decide whether those bans are constitutional. The court will consider whether the Tennessee law that bars things like puberty blockers and hormone therapy for transgender minors discriminates on the basis of sex. Some medical organizations have endorsed the use of puberty blockers, hormone therapy, and in some cases surgeries, but other medical groups and conservative lawmakers say these treatments are inappropriate and dangerous. LGBTQ advocates.
It's just one of those situations where it's like, Okay, we got a bot in chat. Defund war, saving Bitcoin, non-ETF Bitcoin and self-custody, and hashtag hodl, hashtag cold wallet, hashtag self-custody, hashtag spot BTC. Bitcoin life raft, 0 is the only wrong allocation. We got a Trump supporter bot in chat. I love how the crypto bots and the Trump bots are basically they've come together. They've allied. They become the same entity.
Kids claim the law violates the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause and overrides parental authority. And the outcome of the case could have a sweeping impact on health care for the more than 300,000 American teens who identify as transgender. Meanwhile, here in California, leaders are trying to protect access to procedures for transgender people. Doctors who provide gender-affirming care in California are legally protected from laws criminalizing it in other states. Now, some experts have said that gender-affirming care could be threatened by federal action as President-elect Donald Trump is set to become president again.
The right will literally say, you don't tell us what to do with our bodies when it comes to vaccines, but we'll tell you what to do with your body when it comes to sexual identity and abortion rights. Yep.
Trump has said he plans to...
They don't believe anything. These people do not believe anything. They're sheep. They're part of a cult. These are cult members, okay? They're no different than the people who drank the Kool-Aid and died in that fucking field. In, that fucking, was it the fucking Heaven's Gate cult?
Ask Congress to stop federal taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these.
I occasionally watch content about crazy-ass cults, but I always mix them up because it's just a bunch of crazies. Jonestown. Heaven's Gate's a different cult. My bad. Jonestown. Okay.
Types of procedures. Now, today will also mark the first time an openly trans litigator will argue a case before the Supreme Court. A decision is not expected for several months, and the ruling could possibly affect other.
Jonestown, you goof. Y'all are all 30. You do not get to say to me that I'm a goof for not remembering the name of that 30 years ago fucking mass suicide that a cult did, okay? Not remembering the name of the cult, all right? I'm a fucking Zoomer, all right? The fact I even know about it is astonishing. You boomers don't get to shame me for being young. I'm gonna live longer than all of you. I hope you know that. The Heaven's Gate people shot themselves? So it was a very similar situation.
Other laws and efforts to regulate things like sports competitions involving transgender people or which bathrooms they even use.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great AB.
Dude, once again, I don't know how... Oh, they asphyxiated. Okay, whatever. Anyway, I don't know how you do this. Like, it's actually just... On one hand, I want to act surprised. On the other, I feel like it's naive to act surprised. Like, Americans are stupid and foolish and unwise. They have famously always fallen for con men and grifters. Like, America is the land of con men and grifters. It's one of the oldest professions to, like, blow up in the U.S. Like, this is a country of con men and grifters. Like, one of the most iconic things we associate with old America is snake oil salesmen, right? This is a country of con men and grifters. And I guess that's really that's the point of it, really. That's just, Trump is the best con man grifter in a country that has always rallied behind and supported con men and grifters. Americans are still falling for the old Nigerian prince scams. Well, to be fair, the reason why the old Nigerian prince scam is still a thing is because if you fall for it, then if you respond to the email of someone claiming to be a Nigerian prince that needs like 100K so they can unfreeze their bank account and give you $1 million, then you're gonna fall for the whole scam. So they keep doing that because it casts a net that will only catch people that are going to be full-on, like, good marks, right? So yeah, I think that's probably the big reason. I don't know. I think at the end of the day, it's just that, like, these people will support this while saying that they're against fundamentally what this is because they're sheep and they support grifters and they're just not smart. They're just not smart people. Americans are stupid. And I'm not sorry for saying it. And I feel like this is part of the, you know, what helps the right win so much is that they're always like, you're so smart. You're such smart people. You know everything. You know that we're right. You know that we're right. You already know. Just this constant reassuring that they know everything they need to. They're already smart and they're perfect little snowflakes that don't need to educate or inform themselves. Which obviously is what people would rather believe than you're being stupid and supporting something against your own best interests, you idiot. Do some research. No one wants to believe the latter is true. Everyone wants to believe the former is the case. The convenient lies. Anyway. Never let the right claim they're anti-big government or anti-freedom, because that's what they are here. They are cracking down on medical treatments for minors the medical and scientific community overwhelmingly agree upon, unanimously are good, only because they have a political disagreement with it because they find it icky. And they make a lot of money off of virtue signaling how opposed to trans people they are, because most Americans find trans people a little icky. It's like, come on. Listen to doctors, maybe. Maybe the doctors actually know what they're talking about. Maybe the scientists in the medical institutions, maybe they actually get it, and they're smarter than the billionaire real estate investor who made all of his money originally through getting money from his dad, who is also rich. I think the scientists and doctors know better. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this segment, please consider leaving a like and a comment. It is the best way to support my content, the channel, and all my stuff, whether you're watching this live or after the fact when it goes out on YouTube as its own thing. And of course, consider following my social medias, linked down below in the description if you haven't already. Subscribe, ring the bell icon, turn on all notifications. And if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some merch through the Streamlabs link down below in the description. But with all that said, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, have a good one. Alright guys, there we go. What'd y'all think of that segment? I feel like it came out really good. That's actually going to be the last segment. I think that's going to be the last segment for today's stream, because I do need to go to the grocery store before they close tonight. I also wouldn't like to do it too late. And grab my milk gallon, because I do not want to go a day without getting my fucking calories met. I am meeting my macros every day without fail. I'm not even going a fucking day without hitting my macros. And this is the last of my milk, so I gotta buy more. Otherwise, I'm not going to have any in the morning, and then I got to go in the morning, and it's going to be a pain in the ass, because that'll be my morning instead of just getting my milk out of the fridge, making my shake, and, like, relaxing. So, yeah. Right, might as well do it tonight, and enjoy my day off tomorrow, and have my shake. Anyway, guys, before I wrap things up, I want to show you guys something super cool. You know how I showed you guys that tree net webbing? Those tree net webbing videos recently? I got super into those, and I was like, damn, these are so cool. How is there only like 50 videos of this on YouTube? As it turns out, it is still very much a budding genre, and it's still like gathering momentum and whatnot, but it's getting there. It is definitely getting there. And a big YouTuber a couple days ago named Preston Goes made a video. I'm like halfway through it, so I'm not going to restart it. I'm just going to show you guys like after where I was watching, where he meets up with the guy who made all of the best tree net forts on the internet, learns how to make them, and fucks around in some of the like nicest ones the dude has made. They're riding dirt bikes around in the net fort, by the way, just to demonstrate how strong and sturdy and stable they are. They're driving motorized dirt bikes around on these things and using it as like a thing to just ride around on and do crazy tricks on. I'm not even joking. They're that strong and secure. Watch this shit.
What's going through your mind right now? I couldn't vocalize it at the time. All I was thinking about was how excited I was to impress him by getting this dirt bike off the web, since my knots didn't necessarily impress him the day before. It felt...
Oh, this is after. I want to show you the part where they're riding on it.
To me in even more detail how the web was built.
You know, Charlie, building a tree web sure reminds me of building a business.
And what better place to do that than Shopify? Charlie explained that this tree web is a lot like Shopify. To prove his point...
Wait, you're
the dog sitting in his lap.
You're gonna... No, you're not, dude.
Charlie explained how this web stretches and adapts to hold the weight of a dirt bike. Just like Shopify stretches and adapts with your business, whether you're making your first sale or scaling to thousands.
You want to try it? I don't think I can. Okay.
So despite how scared I was, the web supported me and eventually turned that fear into joy. That's what Shopify does.
I love that this hobby is getting more attention, because this is genuinely one of the coolest hobbies I've ever seen, are building these tree webs. And I am genuinely waiting for more videos about them to come out. And the second I saw this in my recommended, my heart jumped, because I've been like waiting for more of these to come out. At some point they go to the big one. Yes, they go to the big one. Okay. This is the guy who makes the best tree webs on the internet, at least as far as I know. And this guy made an iconic one up that is in between 3 giant redwood trees. It's like 100 feet high. That's the one we're about to see. I love this tree web fort that you're about to see. It's so cool.
Two of us were actually becoming friends.
They built it up in some redwoods.
A combination of trauma bonding as well as knowing what was to come. Right as we got back to the house, Charlie said it was finally time for us to climb Franklin's Tower and scout out the perfect spot for my web. But all I kept thinking was, oh my gosh, this tree's so big.
This dude like makes music for his videos. This goes hard. Gotta climb a long way up. The point of comparison he used to tell us how tall this is it's as tall as the Christ the Redeemer statue in Brazil. He is as high up right now as the forehead of the Christ the Redeemer statue in Brazil. That is how high he had to climb. A lot of climbing had to have been cut out there, because this thing is tall. It's a redwood tree. You gotta build in a redwood if you want your tree fort to be this high up. But look how cozy it is.
The last time I felt a sense of awe.
It's like seats.
I may describe this moment to you.
Wow.
Knowing that Charlie doesn't bring a lot of people up here made me really grateful. And maybe that's why I didn't feel as scared as I would have thought. No, that can't be it. This is terrifying. But also very beautiful. So
yeah, my palms sweat watching these videos.
Surprisingly, I didn't hesitate.
Going to the top layer.
I said it
climbing the tree.
I just want to say thanks
Oh.
to welcome me in to such a special
He's building a new
place.
net up
I truly,
here.
Like, even if the camera was off, I would be telling you this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm seriously very thankful. This is like a true gift.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate you coming.
Zombie apocalypse hideout. Now here's the thing. What if it's a dying light zombie apocalypse? What if at night volatiles come out? Would this be a good place to hide from volatiles? Because I feel like they'd climb in it. This reminds me of AOT. Yeah, honestly, Attack on Titan. Like, if they literally live in little forts up in the trees like this in Attack on Titan in the early seasons. Not like web forts, but up in the really tall trees they've got. If you're silent and they don't know we're up there, yeah, but volatiles, at least in game, they just know where you are. They'll eventually find you in Dying Light 2 and Dying Light 1, I think. If you're, like, a place where they can find you, they will find you. I think they can just smell you. Nah, don't make me sweat with Dying Light. Yeah, Dying Light Zombie Apocalypse is the one. Most zombie apocalypses, they happen, and I'm like, all right, time to try and survive. The Dying Light Zombie Apocalypse, those fuckers can climb and volatiles exist. I might crash out. I'm gonna be real. I might crash out voluntarily and just decide, no, I'm not getting chased or eaten by volatiles. Nope.
Coming out and being so enthusiastic to want to do this.
Cool.
There's not many people that I would invite.
Wow, that means a ton. Thank you, dude.
Wait, do you guys not know what a volatile is? All right. Final stun lock before I wrap things up for the night. Dying Light 2 Scary Volatile Chase. They are the strongest infected type in the Dying Light universe. And so for an idea of what that would be like in a zombie apocalypse with a Dying Light zombie apocalypse, this is what that would look like. As YouTube forces the video to fast forward. That is volatile. And so's that. It's like Mirror's Edge, but with zombies. You can't tell because he's not looking behind him, but he's got zombies on his ass right now. They're chasing him. Nighttime is scary in this game. Coming out of the vents. Oh, through the building's never fun. Dude, this guy is panicking right now. Holy shit. Oh, he's gonna loot that? Big balls, bro. It's right there. I'd show the first volatile scene from Dying Light 1. That is true. If you're gonna play Dying Light, I highly recommend you play Dying Light 1 first, because they are, it's the first game, and it's also way heavier on the horror, to be fair. Dying Light 2 is scary as fuck, but it's more of an action game that expands, like, the crazy stuff you can do and focuses more on, like, it's horror, but it's also more fun. Dying Light 1 was like, you are a much weaker, less capable of running around and doing things, and you're scared, and everything is scary, and it gets really dark. Really dark at night. Dying Light 1 Volatile Chase. You see, okay, yeah. it's so fuzzy. This is an older game. The YouTube video is old. Oh, we're just fighting zombies at the opening here. All right, here we go.
Crane here. I'm about to recover an antizin drop.
Good,
This is the first night
This
in the
offers
game.
us a new strategy. Time to turn your attention to Rise. Listen closely. It's very possible that Rise is our man. So if you find an airdrop containing antizin, destroy it.
What? Why?
It will force interaction with Rise. You can go.
Also, Sonic fans in chat might notice or recognize this voice actor who voices the main character, because this is Sonic's voice. Listen and you'll hear it.
Under Brecken's auspices as an ambassador, if you will.
But there are civilians depending on this stuff.
Our plan is focused on the greater good. Remember that.
Yeah, if you've never played Dying Light, you're missing out. These games are great. Gotta run fast.
Jade, I'm at the airdrop. There's no antizin here.
Done? Fuck! All right, get back here and be careful. The nightmares are awake. Don't let them see you.
Oh, shit. They must have heard me.
Run. The first time I encountered this part of the game, it was a total surprise, and I damn near soiled myself. Not really, but boy, was I freaking the fuck out. I thought this was just a fun game where you run around killing zombies. I did not know that it was actually a horror game, and I was not ready for a horror game. You got spotted by a volatile. Yeah, the nights in this game are really dark. You can't see anything your flashlight isn't on. Ooh. That's on his ass, and he's one shot. Oh. God, I know what happens here, and I'm still, like, bouncing my leg. Dying Light chases make me nervous. No, first time I played Dying Light 1, I was mid-teens, and I was shitting myself. Real. Yeah, dude. I did not know that Dying Light was scary when I played it the first time. I thought it was just a fun, like, sandbox, explore the city, run around, park hill, kill zombies. I did not know what happens when it gets dark. What would you do if you entered Fromville without the outside knowledge you have from watching the show? Ooh. Man, not having the outside knowledge kind of makes it a lot harder to survive, because then it's so dependent. If I know where I am and what I have to do, then I almost guaranteed think I survive. But the thing about the monsters is, like, I think, let's say worst case scenario, I arrive by car at night. I think the monsters being so evidently creepy, I wouldn't let them get close. And then if, like, they continue to approach me, at that point I'm going to assume they're dangerous and run. And I wouldn't know they're monsters, but I'd assume they're creepy, weird people out in the middle of the country, like in the middle of nowhere, and I would probably, like, fucking run. Would the monsters get in your head? Probably not, I would like to think. The Last of Us can be because it's children who get the most influence. Adults can just very easily be like, what the fuck are you doing? The Last of Us can be scary too if you aren't paying attention to the game, lol. Yeah, there's horror segments, but the Dying Light is a scary. Anyway, guys, I think here is where I'm going to wrap things up for the night. I will not be live tomorrow, as it is my day off tomorrow, but the day after and the day after that, I will in fact be streaming, so make sure to mark your calendars, and I very much hope to see you there. But yeah, thank you all so much for your kind support today. Y'all have been awesome and amazing. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, really with all that said, I think that's all I have to say. I love you all very much. Thank you for the support. I love you all very much. I hope to see you here again tomorrow, and as always, I hope you all have a good one. Bye, everybody. Doo-doo fart.